What's up? What's up?
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack.
Can you believe it? Let's do it.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. I am Will Bird, and this is the Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you coming out. I know I'm kind of late. I've been trying to figure out what the fuck Trump's doing. It's hard to even say, okay? Let's watch something funny. This is too fucking deep right now. Let's watch something funny first. What we got? If you want to support the show, do it at coldbeer.fund, coldbeer.fund. There's a bunch of ways to support the show. The simplest one is if you just want to donate money, that's this yellow donate button. Down here at the bottom is just a PayPal link. Use a credit card, debit card, PayPal, whatever. But there's these other ones, like if you want message read or different things, all these links on the left-hand side on the center in your phone, they all work different ways. The simplest one is just at the bottom. Yeah, that's what you guys remember when I was telling you about that guy. We were watching that guy run around, and he was playing a war game, and he was talking about the turtles. Like you make 37 and a half turtles per hour, and you ain't got no turtles, bro. And I was telling you, there's another guy that does it. That he does it like in racing games and shit. Well, I found one of his videos. So let's check this out. This is one of that guy's videos where he's like giving people grief in NASCAR games.
I mean, I don't understand why people are so like happy to display the rebel flag. Basically what the rebel flag is, let's say that I made my own flag up, right? I'm gonna use, it's purple and black. I take my flag down with me down to the end of the street and I start a fight with somebody and I get my ass whooped, right?
Now again, he's talking about the rebel flag to NASCAR fans.
Now, after I get my ass whooped, I take my flag and I hold it high in the air and I say, man, I just really got my ass whooped, but I am so proud of this flag because I got my
Gives a shit. I can care less. Shut up and race.
We're racing. Let's race.
We are racing. Just race.
Stop talking about Bubba.
I mean, watch CNN. Bubba was on CNN.
Okay, stop talking about it.
Let's check your privilege at the door. Check your privilege at the door.
You check your privilege, white boy. Shut up.
What's that username? Country Boy Sid? Were you born with Sids too, my man? Shout out with Sid's crowd, y'all.
Shut the fuck up.
I mean, I don't understand why people.
I don't think this is his account, but I will try this account and see if I'm following it. Apparently, I don't think this is his actual account, but if he's got some funny ones, dude, when he starts making fun of Dale Earnhardt, they lose their fucking mind. Like they freak out.
Thanks. Seriously?
All right, he just wrecked somebody.
That guy just
bullshit.
what a mistake.
That's bullshit.
What did I
bullshit.
What did I tell you, bro?
He was gonna finish. He was gonna win the race, and he.
No, I was not. I was right
He was going to win the race. Then he pitted. He ran him into the
on
pits.
your side and you put me down.
Listen here.
Looney's out.
It's not me. That's the 18, the yellow car. The yellow car is the one that needs to be kicked out.
So what me? Are you just full of shit or what?
No, that was the 18 car. The one.
Shit.
The one that wrecked the people was the 18 car, not me.
21 wrecked me.
I'm not in the 21.
Woo me.
I'm not in the 21.
21?
What a
You are the
mistake.
21.
Yes,
I'm
he is.
That guy was gonna
Yes,
win the
he is.
race. He was gonna win the race,
Yes,
and then he
he
pitted.
is.
Whoa, whoa,
Last
whoa,
lap.
whoa, 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 hey,
Last lap.
woo me,
Answer
are
the
you the
question.
21?
No, I'm in the 24.
Yes, he
Not
is.
the 21. I'm goddamn listening. I'm looking at you right here, face. It says who me,
Yes.
21.
Where does it say that at?
It's on the gut.
It's probably a glitch.
Hey, guys.
Probably a glitch.
Guys, calm down.
He gets them fucking riled up, dude. They take this shit serious. The Dale Earnhardt shit makes, oh god, everybody in NASCAR knows you don't pass on the first lap.
Racer?
What you get for passing on the first lap, buddy?
What did I do on the first lap?
You pass on the first lap, you don't pass on the first lap. Everybody knows that.
Passed on the first lap. What the hell? I was on the outside line on the front.
Everybody knows in NASCAR you keep it clean for the first lap. You don't pass on the first lap.
Whatever fucking world you're in. Never heard that shit.
You watch NASCAR?
Yeah, I watch NASCAR. They'd pass on the first lap.
No.
I don't know what NASCAR you're watching, but it ain't the same NASCAR as me.
I've watched NASCAR for 30 years, and I've never seen so many people passing on the first lap. The only one you've ever seen passing on the first lap is probably Dale Earnhardt. You see what happened to him. He tried passing on the first
Ooh, you see what happened to him.
lap and ended up killing himself. I was
What the
Ooh.
hell are you on?
Ooh.
at that race. He did that. I was the only one in the crowd cheering. I was like, yeah,
That's messed up.
buddy, that's what you get for passing on the first lap.
The stupidity runs deep with this one.
That's fucked up. That's a little fucked up. Oh, that's what this guy looks like.
Hey, if you don't have a headset, say goodbye.
He blew a whistle.
If you don't have a headphone on, goodbye. Nobody listened.
How did I die? I did not even move.
You died because you don't have a headset on, and when other people make noise, it comes to your TV into your mic.
Ooh.
Good point.
I keep telling you,
Ooh.
son.
All right, let's go back to NASCAR. Oh, shit.
Oh,
Coming out the
man.
pits.
You, buddy, you did that.
Coming out the pits. After you already hit him.
When I say I'm coming out the pits, you guys have to move up. I am running out of room down here.
You're on the
Slow
apron. You
down.
pull right up in front of the leaders twice.
Well, I'm running out of room out here. I'm telling you guys, I'm coming out of the pits, and you guys say, "Look, you're supposed to move up high, just like in real racing, or slow
Look,
down."
you're 2 laps down.
Because you don't
Why
need to
would
go
you pull
that.
up in front of the
You don't need to be
leaders?
going. You don't need to be going that fast when I'm coming out the pits like that.
Yeah, you don't make any sense, buddy.
I'm coming out of the pits. I don't have any more room to go to
You got
drive.
the whole apron, wad.
Oh.
Whoa! That guy just pitted on the last lap.
He ran him into the pits.
That's because you pitted on the last lap.
He door slammed everybody. Just ignore him.
Pitted on.
They get so mad, dude. So mad.
Come on!
John, was that you again?
I got slammed.
Yeah, that's what she said. I think John's having some. Maybe he's having some lag issues because he's not seeing it.
I ain't having no lag issue. I'm having a weak issue.
Oh, John!
What? I didn't do
He just
anything.
came down into my lane.
John.
He just came down into he was in the top
Yeah, well,
right.
I
He
can
came
fix
down
that
into
problem.
the left lane all the way.
That's it.
Oh, man. Okay, hey, look, just in case any of you boomers can't read, it looks like Good and High 420 got first.
I can read.
It goes on YouTube making these heat videos,
Uh-oh.
talking about how his mom went to jail for growing plants in his backyard.
I'm Todd.
Meth plants.
Fuck.
Hey, you said it, buddy, not me.
Oh, his name. I'm Wee Todd Dad. Is his username. Oh, he's wrecking everybody. Oh, he's wrecking everybody.
Oh, you fucking poser. Oh, goddamn, now you're pissed.
Ooh.
Who the fuck keep throwing in weak ass smoke, man?
Who, me?
I've seen this one. He chases the guy down with smoke. Oh, I've seen him do this before.
Yeah, man, come on, man. Who keep throwing smoke?
He keeps throwing a smoke grenade on the same people.
Damn, that's why I can't see.
Well, no, you can see them. You can see them.
It went
They can't see you.
Bro, don't no more smoke, bro.
Who, me?
Not throw no more smoke. Whoever throwing this shit, nigga,
Yeah, who, me?
if you the one throwing it,
He's not saying who he's talking to.
right side on top of
Who, me?
Sniper.
Smoke.
why is you behind me throwing smoke, bro?
Who, me?
I'm about to say
Hey,
shit. We only
just
shoot
listen. I'm
sound.
trying to tell.
Who, me?
Good, bro. He
Oh, listen to this one. She definitely sounds like she has kids.
shut up, man. Come on, so much. Why it's ridiculous.
Oh, God.
You get on here.
What the fuck is
tweaking
going on?
yourself.
Oh my God. Why's that guy have such a high-pitched laugh for?
But I can.
It's like a girl, kind of.
Smoke.
Yo, these
He's smoking everybody.
same spot.
I don't know. It's funny to grief people on video games. I fuck when I played Xbox, dude, I used to get so fucking mad at people.
Check over by A.
He snapped a me, and so does a rapper named Pinkwave.
Oh, she's not planning it.
Will you just shut the f up. Holy fuck.
Who, me? Why does Pink Wave have a girl's name, but it's a guy?
Pink Wave is my goddamn rap name or producer name, whatever the you want to call it. I don't give a damn what you say. I'm putting the mic in my god.
Except that mic has more crackle than a campfire. I'd probably get a new mic for your rap career.
Why is on your team?
Who, me?
Moist, you're the worst player on there.
Of course, you're f***ing camping.
Who, me?
Why would I?
Who, me?
You?
Who, me?
Oh, you didn't say you got killed. You just said someone was camping. I was about to say I'm not camping. Maybe Miss Switch is camping, but I'm not camping. Watching Miss Epic fail.
I don't know why you're talking shit when I'm doing better than you do.
Hey, were you talking to me or somebody else?
Damn, man. What's going on?
What happened?
I can't move without getting plucked off. Like every way, every step I make.
Isn't that a song?
I think the song go every step I take.
Who, me?
Who, me is pretty funny.
I don't understand why people are so like happy to display the rebel flag. Basically, what?
It's the rebel flag one.
Lap you.
Lap me, I don't give a f.
I'm not talking to you.
Shut the f
I'm gonna lap you 6 times.
Yeah, I got lapped 6 times. You see, obviously you don't know your f numbers, dumb.
Now you better watch who you're talking to like that too, because I know karate, buddy.
I don't give a f. I'm not.
I know karate.
God, you so used to
can't
sack of
put me
shit.
offline.
Shut up.
Who's Earnhardt died? LOL.
Oh, that's me.
Earnhardt died. LOL is his name. In the game, his name is Earnhardt died. LOL.
I just got taken out by TD55.
Damn, you deserve it, because your gamer tag's a little bit smart.
Yeah, you can't tell I wasn't an Earnhardt fan. You guys want to hear a poem I wrote?
What's the poem?
It's called The Intimidator Poem. At 5:16, they made the call. Cause of death drove into the wall. The Intimidator collided with Ken Schrader. Then he died 2 seconds later. Schrader was screaming and saddening. Not me, nope, I was the only one laughing.
You're messed up.
It's not quite finished yet, I'm still working on it, but that's what I got so far. I'm about to lap you.
Dude, you talk about if these people could show up at your house, they would. Like you talking shit about Dale Earnhardt, they would be at your house, guaranteed.
Quit making yours.
My dad would probably fight somebody in public over Dale Earnhardt when he was still alive.
The host, you will see.
The year Dale Earnhardt died, he died on my birthday weekend, and we didn't even celebrate my birthday or his birthday. Our birthdays are 1 day apart. We didn't celebrate. We didn't have birthdays that year because Dale Earnhardt died.
Next race.
You don't want us to call our own shots then, or taking position?
Well, don't come in some room.
It was just too sad to celebrate.
Mouth, dude. You weren't even invited. Period.
Got into me, drove me up in the wall.
You gotta get out of here, Tron.
Oh, man. Number 99.
You flying back and forth into me all race, man.
This piece of shit up here.
Going up high here.
Yeah, the
Oh, come on.
Imagine being such a pathetic loser. You spend money on a video game just to go. You have no life.
It's a waste of money.
You have no life.
He does got a nice voice.
I don't remember how old I was, but it was. My birthday is February 15th. My dad's is February 16th. Let's see. In 2001, 12, I guess. Yeah, we did. It was too sad to celebrate. Their anniversary, my mom and dad's anniversary is on the 18th.
Voice though, don't you guys?
Pull that shit one more time, I'll put you in the wall. Like I said, take your game and throw it off a bridge.
People don't talk to me like that on here. They know I know karate and stuff like that.
Don't talk to me like that. You know I know karate.
That's what they all say.
Taking them on the high side.
Quit making your excuses. I'm the host. You will see.
Jesus Christ, this guy's funny. Oh, he's driving backwards.
Who, me?
No, not you, you fucking pleb. Squeaky little boy.
Who, me?
No, not you. What's your gamer's name?
Who, me?
Oh, God.
The guy talking to me?
No, not you.
I think he's talking to you.
I'm trying to find out who the 6-year-old is, what his name is on the air.
Who, me?
I'm not 6. Oh, my days. Who's this one keeps saying that?
Who, me?
Yeah, you cat.
Yes, you gotta say who you're talking to. Who, me?
Yes, you can play. What's your gamer's name?
You gotta say who you're talking to, because we don't know.
Dude, I don't know, because your name ain't coming up, so I don't know who it is. That's what I'm trying to say.
Who, me?
Oh, fuck.
Don't camp on a hedge.
Who, me?
Not you. I'm not talking to you. Shut the ass up, bro. I said wolf. Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
what? I thought you said who, me?
Bro, shut that ass up. No, me. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but you're not saying who you're talking to. No one knows. Of course people are gonna ask.
You're clearly listening. I said, good play of the game. Who was the play of the game? Not one of us. So you clearly know who I'm talking about. So shut up.
This who, me?
Really had the nerve to say.
Don't scream.
He might be fighting an 8-year-old there. It's hard to tell.
NASCAR a few weeks ago. The one thing I noticed about NASCAR though is the more I play it, for some odd reason, my sister is starting to look really, really good.
Fucking stupid.
You from some like outpatient program or something?
I just started.
Sister's looking better every day.
Talks to it.
Who, me?
Then obviously I'm not fucking talking to you, am I?
Kind of like when Siri just starts rambling for no reason. Like I didn't ask for an alarm.
Grab it.
Who, me? You want me to get it?
I got it.
I got it now.
Yeah, no, we do.
I got it now.
Fucking asshat.
I got the bomb.
He team killed and took the bomb.
Planet.
I was going to, but
I got it. I
The
planted it.
fuck?
Who, me?
It's not knowing colors? Like, what the
That wasn't me.
Dude, shut the up. No one's talking to you.
Dang, girl, stop yelling. You sound like you're trying to unlock a secret level.
Last game, too.
killing your own teammate for the bomb.
Who, me?
The points and the challenge for it, because I'm at like 9. Or I'm at 9 now. I was at 8.
There's plenty around. Plenty of rounds.
Yep, I'll get it eventually.
One's up top.
What are you killing me for? I was covering you.
Dude, off.
I was covering you while you camped. Make sure no one gets you from the
Oh my god. Dude, this guy.
Stop yelling at me. If I wanted this much yelling, I'd call my mom. It's just
He laughs. Is funny. All right, let's Hassan Parker and Ethan Klein finally went to debates. Hassan thinks this debate was kind of weird. Hassan thinks the debate is over Ethan Klein not supporting Palestine enough. But Ethan Klein basically admits there's a genocide, admits this, talks about how Israel's genocidal. They're trying to wipe these people off the map, right? They don't want them there. They're trying to destroy them. He just also tells you, like, he'll also say things like, I feel like the people that live in Israel think this way. And that's too much for the rabid side of TikTok. But Ethan Klein and Hassan debated, and honestly, I think Ethan won. As weird as that is, like, Hassan's a political guy, but he's not a great debater. Ethan is not a debater or a political guy, but I think he won. And it was kind of funny. It was like a 5-hour debate.
You're not believing the victims. You're asking for pics or it didn't happen.
This is over rapes on October 7th.
Mass rapes that are directed by Hamas did not happen. There was no evidence for this whatsoever.
4 survivors told authorities they were sexually assaulted on October 7th. Report. The Channel 12 report is notable because it is based on first-hand accounts of victims. You can yawn all you want. First-hand testimony of such crimes has been rare because the victims have been killed.
Someone is murdered. There's no way to do forensics evidence to actually conclude.
The reason I want to play this particular clip is I don't think Hassan knows what circumstantial means.
Fucking answer to that.
Actually conclude
because
that person was sexually assaulted.
You know that the religious organization that is first responders that you cited has a policy of burying the bodies to avoid disgracing them. That's
Eden,
what
you
happened.
just said dozens of victims came out in that
I'm
article.
reading you. What are you doing, bro? I'm showing you the evidence that you're wrong right now. Are these all lying? There are 5 people here.
It's a pretty good debate if you want to watch it. It's on. I'm sure it's on Hassan's channel, but it's on Ethan's channel, H3 whatever podcast.
Approach the ministry.
I don't care for Ethan either. He kind of pissed me off recently. But Hassan's just, man, it seems like he every time I see a clip of him, he's like the biggest hypocrite in the world.
And one man
almost every time.
raped. Are these all liars?
As far as forensic examination has been concluded, there is no evidence, no hard evidence of sexual assault.
I just read you firsthand testimony of 4 people. What are you doing? You're saying that you're not believing the victims. You're asking for pics or it didn't happen.
I'm not believing the victims.
You said, where's their bodies? Pics or it didn't happen.
So in this debate, I was hoping it was in this clip. It's not. Hassan says that he says, Ethan, that circumstantial evidence is not forensic evidence. So circumstantial evidence has circumstances around it, right? It doesn't directly prove that you did something. But you have to do some think about it logically, right? There's another step you have to take. The opposite of that, or the other part of that, is called direct evidence. That's either you admit it, someone sees it happen, or it's on video. Okay, right? That's direct evidence, a direct witness, an admittance, or a video of you doing it, right? Almost all cases, I don't know where America got this idea that circumstantial evidence you can't get convictions on. Okay. Almost all evidence is circumstantial evidence. Like a rape kit would still be circumstantial evidence. Like your DNA inside of somebody would still be circumstantial evidence. Like a bullet that matches your firearm, a firearm you own that they pulled out of a body, would be circumstantial evidence. Like almost all evidence is circumstantial evidence. It's very rare to have direct evidence like direct eyewitnesses or video or somebody just admits to it. Most convictions are on circumstantial evidence. I think Destiny said it best when he said the one good thing that came out of this debate was like it just shows that most of the time Hassan has no idea what he's talking about. Even the stuff that he claims he cares passionately about, it's almost like he just wants to be on the hip side of things, and he goes all in on it without doing the research. Maybe, I don't know. It was pretty bad. What else we got? The debate was actually pretty funny if you want to see it. This whistleblower account. I have not went through this document, but I don't understand how people can deny this. So basically, what happened was Doge comes in to this agency. Doge signs up for a username and password accounts. Okay? Doge comes in to this agency. Doge wants username and passwords for their guys. Happens, right? Doge directs the people in this agency to turn off, 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 two-factor authentication, which is like where you log in with your computer and they send you a text, or you log in with your web browser and they send you an email. They tell them to turn off two-factor authentication. Then the guy that this whistleblower is starts seeing some really weird traffic coming across the agency's network. It is like GitHub repositories and like scraping and like stuff that people would use to steal information. And maybe that was Doge. I don't know. Maybe they were scraping the mainframe for all this information, right? The system, the network. But within 15 minutes of assigning usernames and passwords to the Doge employees, they get an alert that someone is trying to log in from Russia. And it's not just that they're trying to log in from Russia, which would be flagged. Like, they're not just trying random usernames and random passwords from Russia. They are using the usernames and passwords that were just assigned to the Doge employees. Imagine you start your first day at work at a company, and during orientation in the first day, you do some training, then after lunch, I give you a username and have you make your password. Okay? I'm like, your username is like your last name dot your first name 113, and make up your password. And you make up a password, and it's got to have this type of character, this special character, and one uppercase, one lowercase, one number, one letter, whatever, right? You make up your password. And then within 15 minutes, someone in Russia or China or somewhere around the world is using your username and your password to try to log into our system. There's only two options that I can think of. One is someone on Doge, their devices are compromised, right? They've got somebody that is recording every keystroke, every button they press or something, and they're in Russia and they're using this. Or two, they're just giving the shit to Russia. Either way, this should be fucking good news to Doge, right? Or this should be news to Doge. They should either make sure their devices aren't compromised or stop giving shit to Russia. But neither of those happen. Here we go.
Sworn testimony from a whistleblower that Doge came into his federal agency, requested all sorts of crazy access, and then he, a technical guy, was seeing all sorts of weird stuff go on, including turning off logging, turning off MFA, and then newly created Doge usernames and passwords within 15 minutes were seeing valid login attempts from Russian IP addresses. I've been hearing about this for a few days, but it just felt like more Doge noise, but I finally went through and dug through the entire testimony because the mainstream media coverage on this was not technical at all, and I was like, okay, Russian IP address login, I mean, that can mean anything. So I dug in. The whistleblower was a DevSecOps architect, so a technical member of staff. He said that they demanded to be made Azure tenant owner. If you're familiar with Azure, this is as high as it gets in Azure. This was above the CI.
By the way, this is at the NLRB, right? The National Labor Relations Board, the NLRB, which I don't think Doge should have access to begin with because there's complaints against Elon and his company. There's complaints against his competitors and their companies. He should have had access. I don't even know what they needed here at the National Labor Relations Board.
CIO of that agency themselves. They disabled all sorts of logging and they demanded that a bunch of security controls be bypassed. And then all of a sudden data started being exfiltrated. They saw a 10 gigabyte spike in outbound traffic. It was almost all text files. That's a lot of text files. They saw some weird third-party libraries downloaded off of GitHub that were doing some weird IP rotation and brute forcing and scraping type stuff from these tools. This is not the kind of...
So GitHub is a place where you keep your programs. Okay, like if you build a program to like go into a system and get everybody's username and password, you might keep that on GitHub to where you can upload it from there. You can share it from there. You can do whatever. I think that's what his IT wizards were doing, basically. Because we know they were searching for words like gay. They were searching for words like diverse. They were searching for words like, shit like that, right? LGBTQ. So I think they just had a GitHub repository where they were keeping this. And who knows what data they stole to like feed to fucking Grok and shit. Who knows?
Weird third-party libraries downloaded off of GitHub that were doing some weird IP rotation and brute forcing and scraping type stuff from these tools. This is not the kind of stuff that winds up on federal networks.
That's one thing. GitHub is a normal thing for like programmers or people that work around programming. No GitHub repository should ever be on federal networks.
And then, in the craziest part of this whole thing, I needed to read the full details to believe it. Within 15 minutes of creating usernames and passwords for the Doge people that were sitting there at the office, those usernames and passwords were seen attempting logins from Russia. They were blocked because they were from Russia, but they were not blocked because it was like the incorrect password.
This should be a huge deal. Like, there should be congressional inquiries into how, within 15 minutes, an IP address in Russia has your username and password. It doesn't even have to be nefarious. Like, maybe your device is just compromised, and we need to get to the bottom of that.
It wasn't a brute force attempt. This wasn't a login attempt. This was using the creds, the account that was just created moments ago. There's two options here in my mind. Either the Doge auditor's device is compromised, or option number two. They disabled MFA, all sorts of places that it was never disabled before. You notice some anomalies in billing, like 8% jump in Azure, which is a big deal on a big account like this. But this wasn't from new resources, so he thinks they were spinning up high-cost compute that was used for this data exfiltration and then deleted. And then this guy that wrote this testimony got a threat taped to his door with a picture of...
This is also weird. I mean, I guess people could say it was fake, but he had a picture taped to his door of him walking his dog, telling him not to come forward to this information. And it looked like the picture was taken from a drone. Could be somebody fucking with him. Could be made up. Could be whatever. But if this allegation is true, this is huge.
Him walking around his neighborhood, taken from a drone. This was just like 10 days ago. This is while he was preparing to submit this testimony. A lot of this anomalous behavior was reported to the U.S. CERT. This is incident response team, like U.S. incident response. response team, and they were ordered to stand down. Guys, I didn't hop all over this when...
And CISA as well. CISA was called in. CERT was told to stand down. CISA was told to stand down. Trump is now going after the former head of CISA back when he lost the 2020 election.
It was like on CNN.
It's almost like the more they tell these people to stand down, these teams that are usually called when there's an attempted breach, the more it seems like they're just giving information to Russia. What else would it be? Why would they tell the CERT and the CISA cybersecurity wing to stand down? No report, no investigation.
A lot of this anomalous behavior was reported to the U.S. CERT. This is incident response team, like U.S. incident response team, and they were ordered to stand down. Guys, I didn't hop all over this when this was like on CNN and on NBC. It just seemed like, okay, logins from Russia. We get logins, attempts from Russia all the time. But I kept seeing it, so I dug into this testimony. This is pretty damning from a member of tech.
It's CERT is the computer emergency readiness team. It's a part of CISA, I think.
Technical staff here, especially that note threatening him with a picture from above. Who didn't want this out? Follow more cybersecurity news.
That's so fucking weird, dude. Told to stand down, don't even investigate it. Russia is trying to log in with Elon Musk and his friends' credentials, like their username and their password. We don't even want to look into it at all. No. Stand down, guys. And then, okay, what the title's about. Well, there's some more stuff we'll watch. What the title's about is Trump has declared so Trump is getting away. It often gets away with bypassing Congress, right? He bypasses Congress and uses that to declare national emergencies. We've seen that over and over again. He doesn't seem to give a fuck. He doesn't want to go through Congress. He doesn't want to wait. So he declares a national emergency. And most of the times those are challenged in court. That's how he's doing these no due process deportations. That's how he's doing shit with fucking birthright citizenship. He's just declaring an energy tariffs. That's how he's doing tariffs. He just declares a national emergency because he said so. And then he goes after whoever he thinks is responsible. So his latest bullshit is this. Here's his Twitter post. The movie industry in America is dying. A very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States, Hollywood, and many other areas within the U.S. are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. A national security threat. It is in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I'm authorizing the Department of Commerce in the United States trade representative to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America again. I don't even know how to be. So, you guys know how many movies film on location? Like all movies that are like A-list film on location if there's a chance that they can, right? And that's obviously a lot of times not in the United States. I do know there's been like a move from a lot of people moving from like Hollywood, but like there's a big film industry like in Georgia, right? The Walking Dead was filmed there and a lot of other things. You'll actually see it at the end of the movie. It'll say something like, thanks, Georgia, blah, 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 whatever. There's some movies being filmed in the South and other places. There are movies that are filmed around the world, but we really have like the central, like no one thinks of any place else like Hollywood, okay? Now, they had the writer's strike in 2023, right? And then we had the, obviously the LA wildfires So there is some down period right now, and it kind of sucks. But how the fuck? First of all, are movies now going to have to? This is what Sage said. Are they going to have to CGI everything? Like you can't film on set anymore. Think about the Lord of the Rings. It was all the outdoor shit, and it was filming like New Zealand or some shit, right? How do you even begin to tariff it? So a movie is not like a thing that's worth this much money, right? They have a budget. They try to stay within the budget. Sometimes it's a huge budget, sometimes a small budget. Then they have no idea what it's worth until they put it in theaters. And then it's like over weeks, it does this much, that. How the fuck do you tariff a movie that's just been made that no one knows? Is he going to be a hit? Is he going to flop? Is he going to... What does this even look like? Like, I've seen how they tried to do reciprocal tariffs, and math is not their friend. So you could do like a percentage of the movie's estimated value. You could do it on the budget, maybe, of the film. Projected money that I don't even know. How much of a movie? Like this is insane. A movie is not like a thing. Like it's not like you made this fucking frame for a car, right? Like let's say it's filmed. All the indoor scenes are filmed in California. All the outdoor scenes are filmed in London because it's a movie about being in London. You get half the tariffs? What if all the editor work was done in the U.S.? What if all the actors were fucking hired in the U.S.? What if all the script writers are from the U.S.? What if they're not? I don't understand what this means or how he plans to implement it. It sounds like a fucking disaster, right? It seems like this, even a car is kind of hard to do. So we had, a car is much less complicated than a movie, right? Most people would agree. Building a car. But even a car, like Ford warned us, other major manufacturers warned us, that sometimes parts from a car go across the border 4 and 5 times, right? Like maybe you make the pistons here, then you send it over there, and that gets put into a rotating assembly. Then it gets sent to just across the border to balance it. Then it goes into a block, then that complete engine gets mounted in a subframe, then that subframe gets shipped to the assembly plant. But imagine a movie. And if it's about jobs, are we going to start counting like how many American producers, how many American actors, how many American editors, how many American screenwriters, how many American directors, are we going to start doing percentages of people that worked on the movie? Because it's art, right? Like, let's say everybody is from the United States. They're American actors, American producers, American written script, but it's about a movie that takes place on Mount Everest. So they film on location on a mountain somewhere overseas. Is it right to have 100% tariff on that movie? What if everything's done in the United States, including the filming, but they outsource all the editing, right? They outsource all the editing to fucking Japan. Does that get 100% tariff? This seems crazy. And I don't personally see it as Hollywood or the U.S. film industry is dying. I do know that some places have went to cheaper places. Like I said, like Georgia. The Walking Dead, when it blew up, they really praised filming in Georgia because they're on location. They had good people there. It wasn't nearly as expensive. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, a shit ton of the work is all the post production shit. Like, I know the actors get paid a shit ton to be the actors, but a vast majority of the work is like you got to make a 2-hour movie out of fucking 40 hours of film. Like, that's a big deal. What if that's done in Canada? I don't know. It seems like he just gets an idea in his head, then tweets about it, and then people are like, "Yes, sir, we'll get on it. We'll do it right now." I don't know here's what it says. U.S. President Donald Trump on Sunday announced a 100% tariff on movies produced outside the country, saying the U.S. movie industry was dying very fast death due to incentives that other countries were offering to draw American filmmakers. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. It is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda, Trump said in a post on Truth Social. Trump said he was authorizing the relevant U.S. government agencies such as the Department of Commerce to immediately begin the process of imposing a 100% tariff on all films produced abroad that are sent into the United States. Trump added, "We want movies made in America again." Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, posting on his Twitter, said, "We're on it." Neither Lutnick nor Trump provides any details on how these tariffs would be implemented. Trump appointed 3 Hollywood veterans, John Voight, Sylvester Stallone, and Mel Gibson, in January to bring Hollywood back bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Those guys kind of sound like washed up losers, but whatever. Movie and TV production has been exiting Hollywood for years, heading to locations with tax incentives that make filming cheaper. And crew members were hoping for a rebound in Los Angeles after the strikes by writers and actors in 2023, but statistics show the comeback has been rather slow. The wildfires that destroyed sections of Los Angeles in January accelerated concerns that producers may look elsewhere and that the camera operators, costume designers, sound technicians, and other behind-the-scenes workers may move out of town rather than try to rebuild in their old neighborhoods. Film and television production in Los Angeles has fallen nearly 40% over the last decade, according to Film LA, a nonprofit that tracks the region's production. Governments around the world have offered generous tax credits and cash rebates to lower productions and capture a greater share of the $248 billion that Ampere Analysis predicts will be spent globally in 2025 to produce content. The post by Trump comes after he has triggered a trade war with China and imposed global tariffs which have roiled markets and led to fears of U.S. recessions. Former senior commerce official William Rinch, a senior fellow with the Center for Strategic and International Studies, said retaliation against Trump's foreign movie tariffs would be devastating. The retaliation will kill our industry. So this is huge, right? What if we start charging 100% tariff on movies made everywhere else, and other countries do too? A retaliation against our movies now. It would be devastating. The retaliation will kill our industry. We have a lot more to lose than we do to gain, he said. Adding that will be difficult to make a national security or national emergency case for movies. Again, it would be difficult to make a national security or a national emergency case for movies. I think there's better ways. He's so unhinged, he's reaching and grabbing for anything that comes to his mind. Yeah. I wonder what QAnon thinks about him trying to rebuild Hollywood. I thought Hollywood was going to be destroyed because of all the nasty things they do and kids and babies and adrenochrome and blah, 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 blah. Oh, this must be the good MAGA Christian Hollywood, I guess. Crazy, dude. Crazy. I think there's other ways and incentives to offer to have movies made here. But it would be more, it'd look more in like taxes and making it easier to produce and shit like that, right? Incentives to do it. Not, if you go anywhere else, we're going to charge you 100% tariff. You're not going to make any fucking money. And again, And not to be nitpicky, but how do we even decide this? What if everything's made in America, but the original screenplay was written in fucking Sweden? Is that a Swedish movie? MAGA-wood. Ooh. That gave me a shiver. Like, this shit doesn't even make sense to me. Has it ever made sense to anybody, I guess? I don't know. Support the stream. if you have a chance. I got 100% tariff on myself, so if you want to support the stream, that'd be great. If you don't, I understand. You can do that at coldbeer.fund, coldbeer.fund. Let's check out something else. Here's a good conspiracy that's been floating around. So I saw this today, and then I happened to run across this video later. There's a conspiracy floating around that all the women that went up. By the way, I would do this. Just so you guys know, I would fucking go up. I would do this in a heartbeat if I had the money or was offered or whatever. But there's a picture floating around of the space shuttle after it lands, and it's got what appears to be a plastic hand through the window, and the uniforms have a white stripe on their leg. See these uniforms? See these ladies' legs? They're all blue. The uniform in the picture has a white stripe. The flat earthers think it was fake.
All right, so just when I thought everyone was on board with the idea that sending 6 privileged ladies into outer space was not a good idea with everything going on in the world, I stumble upon this creator who can't help but dabble in conspiracy theories. So let's watch what she's got to say, and then I'll be back in 1 second.
Am I the only one that caught this? Check this out. All right, so here is a picture of the pod that landed safely on Earth after.
Now, that looks very much like a plastic hand. It looks like a plastic hand.
The 11.
And it says,
space travel with the all-female astronauts. Clearly this hand looks very shiny, and to me it looks like a dummy.
All right, so clearly this creator saw someone's Instagram post that...
Why would a clearly plastic hand be visible through the window of this recording, chat? Any guesses? Before we get to the bottom of this, I already looked it up, so I know. And this video is obviously going to tell you. A clearly plastic hand visible through the window of this space shuttle. Or return pod, whatever they're calling it. That's right. It was a test flight from 2017.
It looks like a dummy.
All right, so clearly this creator saw someone's Instagram post that said, and had this hand here that does look like a plastic hand. She also points out that this white stripe here was not on the pants of the 6 ladies that went up, and she's claiming that it's a dummy. And it is a dummy, but it's not the only one in this video. Because if you simply do a Google reverse image search on that image that's behind her, you get taken to this story from July 13th.
Oh, this is exactly what I did. I held the home button down on my Samsung phone. I circled the hand in the window, and it brought me to, I don't think it was this article, but an article just like this.
15th of 2018 that is about Blue Origin's testing of their rockets. And if we scroll down, you can see that sure enough, there is the photo right there. And that is of a dummy that went up in a test rocket on December 12th, 2017. And yes, if you go to YouTube and search up,
you can watch the whole thing.
December 12th, 2017, Blue Origin, you can see the full 11-minute video.
It's called Mannequin Skywalker.
Of Mannequin Skywalker's Ride into Space onboard Crew Capsule 2.0, which was uploaded on the 14th of December, 2017. And yeah, if you look at it, there's that same white stripe that is in the photo she posts, but isn't on the suits of those 6 women that went up into space. So again, let's get past all this conspiracy theory stuff and realize that yes, billionaires are sending rich people up into space, and eventually they will leave Earth and leave us here behind, so we don't have time to go through nonsense like this. Let's focus on the problem at hand.
Is it a problem, though?
All right, so I posted this video last week debunking this woman's claim that cash...
Cash Patel said they arrested 10 of the most wanted fugitives.
FBI had captured 10 of the top 10 most wanted fugitives in America. And during that video, I read this tweet by Cash Patel from March 18th of 2025 that read, "The FBI, the Justice Department, and Pam Bondi have captured our third fugitive on the top 10 most wanted list since January 20th, 2025. That's not an accident." And that tweet seems to confirm that Cash Patel wants credit for all three of those fugitives being arrested under his
We've captured the third since then. Sure.
and Pam Bondi's tenure. And of course, the Do Your Own Research crowd had to jump into my comments with stuff like this from Kimberly that says, "So this person got it wrong. However, 3 of 10 in just 2 months seems a tad better than 0 of 10 in the last 4 years."
Oh.
Is that true? Let's take a look. So
I doubt it.
let's start by establishing that Pam Bondi was sworn in as the United States Attorney General on February 5th, 2025, and Cash Patel didn't assume office until February 21st of 2025. So I'm assuming that all 3 of those fugitives were captured after February 21st and today. But let's take a look at that. And here's your first top 10 that was captured. This is Donald Eugene Fields, and as you can see here, he was captured on January 25th, 2025.
That's weird. You think Trump himself put together a team to take him down in 5 days?
Which is weeks before either Pam Bondi or Cash Patel took office. And here's the second guy, Arnaldo Jimenez. He had been on the top 10 since 2019, and he got captured on January 30th, 2025. This is weeks before Pam
Weird.
or Cash Patel were sworn in. And while the last guy of Cash Patel's 3 was captured on March 17th of 2025, it's a little suspicious that he added him to the list on February 21st, 2020.
He got added to the list on February 21st and then just happens to get picked up 2 weeks later.
25, which, was the exact same day that he was sworn in.
Weird.
So again, in the news story about that last guy's arrest, it says that the Mexican government arrested him in Veracruz as part of a joint operation between the United States and Mexico. So isn't it entirely possible that Cash Patel gets sworn in on February 21st, 2025? They tell him that the Mexican government is getting close to arresting a guy, so he just decides to put that guy on the top 10 most wanted list so he can tweet about it a month later when he's caught. And for anyone wondering about Kimberly's claim that under Joe Biden, they had 0 of 10 arrests in the last 4 years of those top 10 fugitives,
they just make shit up. They just make it up.
Was a lie too. In fact, there were 3 arrests in
eggs were $48 under Joe Biden. Now they're paying me $3 to take them from the store.
2022 of the top 10 fugitives, 1 in 2023, and again, these 2 were arrested before either of these 2 took office, and the one arrest that did happen after they took office was elevated to that top 10 list and then arrested just weeks later. So thanks, Kimberly and all those other mega commenters, for helping me dig into this issue a little further and dig out a little more truth.
I like this Debunction Junction channel. Let's check out some more of their content.
Listen up, young liberal ladies. This conservative podcaster has some advice for you, so I'm going to let her talk, and then I'll be back.
Young women listening, stop listening to feminists. They will wreck your entire life. You will internalize this bull, this nonsense. I don't need a man. I can do it myself. Hoo-hoo. And you'll feel really good about it at 20 and 19, right? You're at your peak looks-wise. You're just entering the dating marketplace.
Then get you a man, have his babies.
Time. You're feeling on top of the world. You internalize all this crap that the feminists told you. I don't need a man, all this stuff. And suddenly time just flies. 20 years can go by if you live in that lie. And then you wake up in a panic. Right? And you're looking for somebody to fix it. I don't know. Prince Charming to show.
Where's your babies?
Magically, the fairy godmother comes in and waves that wand, and there's like a little horse and carriage now taking you to the castle.
Yeah, Cash Patel was born with googly eyes. 100%.
Real life. And you're not Cinderella.
Oof, that got dark in a hurry. This is Jedediah Bila, a longtime journalist and now a podcaster. And you know what it sounds like? It sounds like she got married at 19, had all of her kids, and this is a cautionary tale for anyone who decides to have a professional career first and maybe delay having kids. So let's take a look at her life. Well, according to her Wikipedia page, she was born on January 29th of 1979.
Childless cat lady.
She married her one and only husband in February of 2018, which by my math made her 39 years old.
Oh my God.
And yep, just a year and a half later, Jedediah became a new mom at the age of 40. And remember when she said you'll feel really good about it at 19 and 20, not having kids, and your looks are at your peak? And then later in her video, she talked about suddenly time flying and 20 years could go by. I mean, is she telling everyone her life story? Again, she is 46 years old. She married her husband at 39, and they had their first child when she was 40. Where does she get off telling people they're not Cinderella when this weirdo made it happen? Listen up, young liberal ladies.
Damn it. Oh, no. Oh, no. He makes such weird movements with his tiny little mouth. You know what I noticed also today while we're talking about eyes and the googly eyes that Cash Patel has? The elder millennials' eyes are way too close together. Like serial killer level of way too close together. He has so much head on the outside of his eyes. I'll show you a picture in a minute.
All right, so it's even...
Oh, what do you know? Look how close together his eyes are, and look how much head meat he has on the outside.
Dishonest edits with this guy, so I'm going to show you his clip, and then I'm going to be back right after.
All right, look, I'm not going to say anything after I show you this clip, because anything I could say after this clip would definitely be a community guideline violation.
Okay.
I'm just going to show you the clip and let it ride. Please, enjoy.
A child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, you know, that warms my heart, particularly as a black man.
So that's right. The older millennial pulled a 7-second clip out of Michelle.
There it is, folks. There it is, folks. She said she's a black man.
Obama's own podcast with Damon and Marlon Wayans that was 1 hour and 7 minutes long. And if you extend that clip out to just 30 seconds, you can see that she's talking about the fact that she's proud of Marlon Wayans as a black man defending his trans son. So let's go ahead and play that whole clip.
Well, speaking of parenting, I wanted to talk, Marlon, a bit about, you know, just so proud of how you are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
They wouldn't take shit out of context, would they?
And that's, you know, that warms my heart, particularly as a black man. You know, would you care to share that journey of?
Well, I learned and their transition really taught me what real unconditional love was.
Yep. So yeah, this is just another example of how this guy is happy to jump in the gutter and spread more and more misinformation to his followers, and it's why he gets no sympathy from me, why his accounts keep getting banned. All right.
Fuck him. Fuck the elder millennial.
No one disputes that Donald
and this dude's a piece of shit too.
Blue suit to the Pope's funeral, but
this was that edited photo everybody was using.
Of course, conservative creators like Jeffrey Mead, as soon as he starts getting some flack for it, comes in with this defense.
This here is a perfect example of what the media does to get people.
I miss I was raised to hate Obama, and he was the Antichrist and a Muslim and all kinds of shit. But man, at least when I listened to him speak, as speeches or just with other people, I didn't feel like what the fuck is happening to this guy? Is he all right? Does he need an adult? I don't. He's not saying things that make sense.
Hate Trump. The Vatican asked Pope Francis' funeral attendees to wear all black. Trump wore a blue suit. So that's what the media says, and this is the image they show you.
So yeah, we're all in agreement. The media showed you the rules that the Vatican asked for, and they show you that Trump is breaking those rules. So what is the dodge he's going to try to do here?
Now here's a picture with more context, and you can see how many...
So they just upped the saturation and turned about 20 more suits blue.
People were dressed. I'm zooming in a little bit more so you can see it.
And now we know this is a lie. I showed this on my show as well, because that right there is Joe Biden. And you can go back and look at Joe Biden. He had pictures taken, right, going to the Pope's funeral. He was in the blackest of black suits, and his tie, which was supposed to be black as well, was like a really dark blue.
A lot more blue than what the media was trying to lead people to believe.
So yeah, instead of Jeffrey just acknowledging that Trump did in fact break those rules, he goes with a defense of, hey, he's not the only one who broke the rules. But is that true, or did a MAGA supporter just get a hold of Photoshop here? So let's go ahead and focus on these two men that are wearing the traditional Muslim headdresses here, and look at this guy here to one side who's wearing a purple suit, and this guy here who seems to be wearing a blue suit, and let's go ahead and look at the raw image. So here is that raw image blown up from Getty Images, and in it you can see that Trump is indeed wearing a blue suit. But if we slide this image over, you can see that there are the two here, and here is the guy that I previously identified in a purple suit, and here's the guy that I identified as wearing a blue suit, and you can see that they are in fact wearing black suits.
Imagine that.
All right, so just when I thought everyone was on board with the idea
What are two clips that give off the same energy?
The biggest majority, the U.S. Americans, want you to be president.
I personally believe that U.S. Americans.
What are two clips that give
U.S. Americans.
So all you folks are worried about the stock market.
We've covered this bitch before.
Sit back for the next few days and see.
This is the same one that works in a bank and said that everybody just works until they max out their child tax credit, then quit.
What's happening? Because all these countries that are already backing out, that's going to make a difference in the stock market. It's going to get it back plus some after the next few days.
4 to 6 days later.
I don't care if the stock market went down. I keep sharing with y'all my 401k.
She don't care.
I don't care if it does go down.
She works in a bank, guys. She works at a fucking bank. You think at minimum she could care about something to do with money? Nope. Not with dear leader around.
Solves it when the economy crashes, when the country goes to total hell, and everything is a disaster. Then you'll have you'll have riots to go back to where we used to be when we were great. Now, you know what solves it?
This is Trump in 2014 saying that we needed the economy in America to crash and riots to go back to where we used to be great.
Well, Trump's back in office, and here's a shocker. The economy is already tanking. Since his inauguration just 6 weeks ago, the Dow Jones has dropped more than 1,400 points. But hey, who would have seen this coming? Oh yeah, everyone who's been alive for the last 4 decades. That's because every modern Republican president follows the exact same disastrous playbook. First, cut taxes for the ultra-rich and corporations, while also gutting regulations, especially on Wall Street, and act completely shocked when the economy implodes. Reagan had the savings and loan crisis and Black Monday. Bush had the biggest economic crash since the Great Depression. And in Trump's first term, he mismanaged a pandemic into the worst job losses in a century. And with Trump's second term, we're already teetering on the brink of another disaster. But you might ask, why?
Oh, I can't.
Trump's tariffs on Liberation Day is looking pretty good for the stock market. What do you think about that now, Dems? Let's go, boys.
1 day later.
President Trump is giving you a gift and you're too blind to see it. The stock market
You're too dumb to see it.
is the only store in the world that when it goes on sale, everyone freaks the F out. And since when you guys been more worried about Wall Street than the actual street? Let's go, boys.
Trump's tariffs on Liberation Day is looking pretty good for the stock market. What do you think about that now, Dems? Let's go, boys.
1 day later.
President Trump is giving you a gift and you're too blind to see it.
God, these guys are funny.
But are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that.
Do you see how reluctant Trump is to predict a recession when he's in office and it's his policies that are causing it to happen? But guess what? A little over a year ago, Trump didn't have any issue predicting the 2025 economy based on whether he won or if Joe Biden stayed in office. Take a look at this.
The Biden administration is running on the fumes of the great success of the Trump administration.
Remember, this speech is from December 2023. So I guess by running on fumes, Trump is talking about the fact that Biden more than doubled his pre-COVID job
All the way into the end of 2023, it was still the Trump stock market.
creation, and that Biden's worst year was still 300,000 jobs better than Trump's best year. But let's let Donnie continue.
This thing would have crashed to levels never seen before. And if we're not elected, we'll have a depression the likes of which I don't believe anybody has ever seen. Maybe 1929. That's what's going to happen. We're running on fumes.
So again, today Trump was shy about making economic predictions, but last year he was willing to predict a Great Depression if Joe Biden was reelected.
It's hard talking to fucking Trumpers, dude. And like you can just say, can't we just say that? Like I was trying to convince some Trump retards that there is no way the eggs dropped 94% in their price. Like I know I've said this a bunch of times, but like that's insane. Like if you were paying $5 a dozen, you would now be paying 30 cents a dozen. Like that's insane. Can we just say that 94% was a lie? No, he's not. He doesn't lie to the American people. Well, when Joe Biden was there, I was paying $18 a dozen. He's not lying. He's just exaggerating the price. Well, all I know is lower eggs is lower eggs. Like, God damn, it's so hard talking to these motherfuckers.
So how did he think things were going to work out if he got elected?
With your vote by Christmas, and we're going to have it by Christmas 2024, that's just shortly after the election, because of the momentum of our victory, we will have a U.S. economy roaring back, and in 2025, we'll have one of the greatest economic years this nation has ever recorded.
So last year, he predicted if he got back in office, 2025 would be one of the greatest economic years in our history, but here he is today.
I hate to predict things like that. There is
11 out of 12 recessions have been led by Republicans.
A period of transition, because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America.
94% off anything would be insane, right? 50% off anything is insane.
That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time.
Little time.
It takes a little time. But
Just a little time.
you know who didn't think it was going to take a little time? You, 1 year ago.
All right, let's check this out. This will let's put a smile on your face. This is Trump at the border with Hot Wheels. Now you can see immigrants on the other side. See them over here? They're all standing on the other side of the river. There goes a boat by, a patrol boat. Trump waves at them and holds his hand up, and they say, Trump. They listen.
They like Trump. Could you believe it? They like the government.
Did you hear it? They said, Trump, Trump. And then he looked at him and they said, fuck your mother. And he's like, can you believe it? They love Trump.
You serious?
They like Trump. Could you believe it?
They like Trump. Can you believe it? The fake news won't tell you this. They'll just lie to you. They like Trump. Can you believe it? On the other side of a razor wire fence. They love Trump.
Like the government.
It's pretty good.
You serious?
Pretty good. Let's see what this is from Stephen Himmler.
Children will be taught to love America. Children will be taught to be patriots. Children will be taught civic values for schools that want federal taxpayer funding. So as we close the Department of Education and we provide funding to states, we are going to make sure that these funds are not being used to promote communist ideology.
If you are a teacher
That doesn't sound like indoctrination at all, huh?
who supports the closure of the Department
Remember how they freaked out over Arabic numerals, right?
Communist ideology.
If you are a teacher who supports the closure of the Department of Education and thinks that a clip like that is okay, quit your fucking job. Quit it tomorrow, okay? I don't give a shit about a teacher shortage.
I think I've seen her. Is she the one that does, no, she's not, but she reminds me of the lady that does the, what's it called? Like soft parenting or whatever?
Children will be taught to love America. Children will be taught to be patriots. Children will be taught.
It would be nice if you could just make America such a great place that you didn't have to teach children
Civic values.
Gentle parenting, yeah.
Federal taxpayer funding. So as we close the Department of Education and we provide funding to states, we are going to make sure that these funds are not being used to promote communist ideology. For any nation to be successful, it cannot teach its children to hate themselves and to hate their country.
So you're going to get rid of the Department of Education so that there is less federal oversight.
Here's something that tells you how dumb fucking MAGA is. Every MAGA person that I've talked to about the Department of Education thinks that curriculum is set by the federal government. That thinks every lesson plan is set by the federal government.
Oversight, but then you're going to police what schools are teaching in every state. You have all of these investigative task forces that you're rolling out.
Because the first thing they'll say is that they're teaching kids to be communist, socialist, furries, and litter boxes. And I'm like, you think they set the lessons? You think they say, like today's lesson is, or this month's lesson is, or this school year you're going to learn? Yeah, they do. That's why they're teaching them all to be trans.
out. You shut down 7 of the 12 regional offices of civil rights, but you're opening new so-called civil rights cases every single day. The Department of Education, as it currently stands, is meant to protect our most vulnerable students. Anybody who is not able-bodied, cis, white, straight. Those are the kids that are supposed to be protected, right? There are 17 offices. Well, after the reorganization, I don't know if there are still 17 offices. There were 17 offices when this clown took office. Y'all's plan to maximize efficiency is taking those 17 offices, closing the specialized department that handles those 17 offices, and
The MAGA retards are freaking out on Twitter because they saw a piece of a document from the state of Michigan that mentioned the Arabic numerals. So this woman's like, you see it here in Michigan, they're forcing people to learn Arabic numerals. Arabic numerals are the 0 through 9 that we currently use. That's what they are. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are Arabic numerals. Roman numerals are like right? Then someone in the comments was like, who runs that godforsaken state? And she's like, Tim Walz. Thank God he wasn't elected. So she didn't even have the governor. Like, these people are crazy. They're insane.
scattering the responsibilities of all 17 offices to the wind. You didn't even put competent people in charge of these departments. You are all for the white Christian nationalist insanity, white supremacist bullshit that this dude is spewing. You're like, yeah, hell yeah, anti-woke, boo, DEI. And somewhere along the line, you're pretending that you give a shit about kids. I literally feel like I am in the Twilight Zone.
We all are.
DOJ just ended a decades-old desegregation order in Louisiana and called it righting a historical wrong. This historical wrong is not segregation or racism. It's the court case that tried to fix it. Back in 1966, the federal government sued a parish for refusing to desegregate its schools. And by 1975, only 11 years later, a judge said they were desegregated. But the case stayed open like many desegregation orders did across the South. This week, Trump's DOJ officially ended the case. And the Assistant Attorney General said, it's time to get America refocused on our bright future. In fact, they said that integration ended 2 generations ago. Except it did not. These desegregation orders, called consent decrees, were not random. They were created to force districts to integrate, especially because a lot of them were dragging their feet post Brown versus Board. I talked about this in this Substack a lot.
When literally fucking 0% people engage with you, maybe it's time to not fucking throw up another one, you know?
But these orders do not go away until the district can prove it's eliminated the effects of segregation in practice, not on paper. And segregation, both racial and economical, are huge issues to this very day. Brown versus Board did not end it. And some schools are more segregated now than they were in the 60s. It's a disaster. The Trump DOJ isn't just ending one case. They're laying the groundwork to dismantle desegregation nationwide. The Louisiana AG has already requested more desegregation orders are dropped. She says, it's time to put the past in the past.
Yeah, let's just forget it.
Right now, you guys. Districts that lose these orders often resegregate so fast. This rhetoric sends a very clear signal. The federal government is stepping away from...
This is very much like Elon Musk telling the German far-right party, it's time that we stop living in the past.
Its role as an equity enforcer in public education. We already knew this. It's been a mess. The Supreme Court is deciding whether to let a religious public school open in Oklahoma. Not a private school,
a religious public school.
And if you're confused, you are not alone, so let's break this down. I'm going to piss people off with this, but let's clear this up because this entire case hinges on it. Charter schools are public schools. Like, full stop. There's just traditional public schools and there's charter public schools. Charter schools are established under state law, funded with public dollars, and held accountable to public standards. And yes, they have to provide special education services. And the nitty-gritty is different from state to state. It's a whole thing. But charter schools have to follow constitutional rules for public schools, including the Establishment Clause. So this entire case would not exist if charter schools were private. But okay, let's talk about the case. Oklahoma approved a virtual Catholic charter school that explicitly said it would teach Catholic doctrine as truth. But the problem is charter schools are public entities, and Oklahoma's constitution is very clear about stuff like this. This is why Ryan Walters runs into this issue all the time with his antics in traditional public schools. Now, this is at the U.S. Supreme Court level. Justice Barrett recused.
I haven't even heard about this case. It's already to the Supreme Court.
So it's likely going to come down to Chief Roberts. If the court rules for the school, it means that religious organizations can run publicly funded schools with
that's scary.
And they can reject staff and students based on things like being LGBTQIA+. They can replace science standards with theology, and they can claim First Amendment protections while taking public money. State Superintendent Ryan Walters would freaking...
That'll be what happens. That's literally when the Satanic Church steps up, is to prove the fucking hypocrisy in these things. I guarantee you they'll step up and throw together a fucking school, and Tucker Carlson will be crying about how they're sacrificing kids at this school or some shit.
And love this. And
they do a really good job at shining a light on the hypocrisy that is just laid out for Christians, basically.
Nationwide, this would flip the script on decades of church and state separation in public education. A lot of the Supreme Court justices are ready to roll. Kavanaugh...
Yeah, that looks like my Pornhub history, virtual Catholic.
Saying that they're discriminating against religion. I will keep you posted on this. Of course, there's nothing we can really do about this right now because the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court. So wish I had a happy ending for you, but I don't. So I'm just going to keep paying attention. Trump's fiscal year 2026 budget outline.
I want to see more of her, what do you all call it, gentle parenting? Political gentle parenting. Okay.
Goodness, friend, you were up there for so long. How do you feel? So excited, yeah, because you get to play president candidate again. President, yeah. Oh, I heard you say that last time you played for decades and decades. Do you know how long a real decade is? It is 10 years. 10, I know, it's so crazy. Learn something new every day. But friend, we still have to take those papers back that we took home with us last time. Yep, even if you're president again, we have to make that choice all the way. Okay, it's okay to have a big feeling about that, friend, but we are not going to do our speech again. Okay, we need our body to be safe and calm, and then I will play your playlist with the Grim Reaper song. For sure, okay? Are you feeling sad about this week? Your friends lost. Well, they lost fair and square, friend. We're not doing this again. Goodness, friend, you were...
They lost fair and square. We're not doing this again. She's very funny.
Hey, friend, what are you working on? Oh, wow. No, I'm just so surprised because don't you have other things to be working on right now? Ooh, catch a bubble, please. No speeches about TikTok until your spending budgets are all done. I love the tic-tac-toe line. It's just not the time or the place. Got it? It is.
Got it.
Pickles Day. So let's look at the board. Catch-up work, reproductive rights, common sense gun laws, listening to constituents. Wow, yeah, lots going on, huh? Well, okay, pickles, things you can pick from. TikTok isn't even on this list, friend. Do you want to work on the public school? Okay, I thought so. Where is all of your must-do work? Can I check your folder, please? Ooh, did you put the other 13,535 bills and resolutions in the left at home pocket? Because those needed to be in the right back to the House of Representatives pocket. Okay, eager beaver, well, let's take a seat and let me put this one up for you. No, I cannot call Dear Daddy for more money. Okay, I can see you're having a really big feeling right now. Hey, friend, what are you working on?
She's very good. Very good. This is big news, kinda, and this includes some of the details about the Ukraine mineral deal. Ukraine just shot down, as far as we know, I guess, the first fighter jet, fixed wing, with a drone. It was just a week or two ago they were doing helicopters. Now they got jets.
Down a Russian jet with a drone. It's the first time in history that ever happened, but that's probably going to get overshadowed because in just the last couple days, the United States all of a sudden appears to be backing Ukraine for the long term and pressuring Russia more than we've seen in quite a while. Now, starting out, we got to cover this interception because this is wild. This is footage just released by the Ukrainian GUR, the main intelligence directorate of their Ministry of Defense. They say on May 2nd, a special unit of the GUR eliminated a Russian Su-30 in the Black Sea. This is the first destruction of a combat aircraft by naval drone in the world. We did have footage a few months ago of them shooting down a helicopter. This is the first fixed-wing aircraft. They say the historic strike was carried out by soldiers of the Special Forces Unit of the Ukrainian Defense Ministry Group 13 with a Magura unmanned maritime platform missile. The multi-role fighter of the aggressor state of Russia, whose estimated cost is about $50 million, burst into flames in the air and eventually fell into the sea to the bottom of the possessions of the ruthless Neptune. Now, we've seen these Magura drones, unmanned surface vessels, outfitted with a wide array of things. They've had machine guns, they've had rockets, surface-to-surface rockets, or sea-to-surface rockets, I guess in this case, unguided rockets, and we started to see more man-pads, or surface-air missiles is probably the better way to put it. And again, a couple months ago, they shot down a helicopter that is out there hunting for...
You guys remember what the Magura drones is? This isn't this isn't an air drone. It kind of looks like a jet ski. It's kind of like a jet ski drone. It's like that gray body jet ski thing, the drone boats thing. But they put weapons, they put machine guns, they put bombs, they put missiles. It seems like a missile was launched from one of the Magura drones and intercepted a fighter jet.
For these drones, it's the best way that Russia has found so far to defend against these. When the helicopters became more of a risk, they started putting out fixed-wing platforms that are faster, a little harder to shoot down. Now those are at risk as well. Now, this was confirmed by a Russian military fighter bomber who said, quote, "Yesterday was a difficult day for naval aviation. After the plane was hit, the crew found themselves in the water surrounded by enemy drones." Talking about the rescue, he says the complex task was solved by the crew of a civilian dry cargo ship who, ignoring the drones, machine guns, drones, torpedoes, and other threats, came to the aid of the crew and lifted them on board. It goes without saying that the Ukrainians saw this and controlled the entire rescue process from their drones. Isn't they like circling around, very clear that they knew what was happening. He says, but for some reason, they did not attack the civilian ship. What do you know? How about that? They say at one point there were 5 drones circling around.
Some people say I wear many hats. No, just a little bit of comedy. Just a little bit of comedy. The left wanted to make that illegal. Yeah.
These crew members during the rescue. So the big takeaway here is we've got drones shooting down fixed-wing aircraft. That is a game changer, and we'll have to see how this innovation continues throughout this war and how it gets picked up by other countries like the United States around the world. Now, getting into this new strategy, if you will, new position by the United States towards Ukraine and towards Russia, there was a statement made earlier this week that the United States might be abandoning Ukraine. I think that was stepping it a bit too far, but essentially saying we're moving away from our current role as a mediator in this process. And the spokesperson for the State Department hit on this, explaining it's not anything.
This mineral deal in Ukraine is not for anything that they currently have in production. It's only for future endeavors. That'll be a partnership, and there'll be this defense fund that they're putting together for Ukraine together. So Ukraine, from these future mineral and precious metal and oil and whatever, they'll be putting 50% of what they make into this defense fund. And the United States will be putting all the shit that we send them in aid, military aid, in the future into that fund. So basically, they're wiping the slate clean, and they're going to start sending future aid, military aid, into this fund that will be funded for the use of retrieving these rare earth minerals and oil and all kinds of shit, precious metals.
New. We're just changing up our position. That personally, I think, is for the positive. Let's give that a listen.
What the Secretary has said repeatedly, and what I've also said, and the President has said, is that if there is no progress, if there isn't a genuine dynamic of a concrete resolution and solution to this conflict, then our role would change. Some outlets reported it as an abandonment of Ukraine or an abandonment of the process. And that is not true. If that were to occur, and this is, of course, up to the President and the Secretary of State, if
that literally is an abandonment, but whatever.
We do not now see progress, which is in the hands of the parties, Ukraine and Russia, then our role would take a different posture, which is right now, of course, we're the mediator, and we've been running around the world at the drop of a hat for a good reason. This is about ending the carnage of that obscene debacle that unfolds in this dynamic. But if there is no progress between the two,
never would have happened if I would have been there. Just saying.
Parties, then
we've been through a lot together. You remember Russia.
We would step back as a mediator in this framework. It doesn't mean we are abandoning the desire for the ceasefire or doing what we can to help assist that framework or an end to the conflict in general.
So to me, my takeaway there is, again, not abandonment of Ukraine. I think the comments about that earlier in the week were a bit too much. It was really just, we're not going to do the same negotiation strategy that we've been working on. My read of that is that this administration, maybe they wanted to test some certain things out, and they came to the conclusion that, hey, Putin's not really interested in ending this war. Maybe we need to do something else, pursue a different strategy. And the reason I say that is we didn't...
No security guarantees still. The only security guarantee that exists without actually being in writing is that we would have probably U.S. civilian contractors on the ground there, and Russia would do everything within their power not to kill U.S. civilians on the ground, working at whatever, one of these processing plants or one of these dig sites or whatever there.
Just say that we're not going to be jet setting around the world trying to negotiate indefinitely. But just this past week, we opened up new arms sales, signed a mineral deal, and new sanctions were introduced in the Congress. So significant actions to back Ukraine and further hamper Russia. Let's start out with those arms sales, which are a product of the mineral deal that we're going to get into here in a minute. But this is really notable in a lot of ways. According to Newsweek, they say the Trump administration has told Congress that it intends to give the go-ahead for roughly $50 million of defense-related products to be exported.
So some of it they're buying. So this is military sales tap after a minerals deal.
To Ukraine through American industry sales directly to Kyiv. This is $50 million is not a lot in this war, unfortunately. Like, just the numbers are out of control in any conflict with any military. $50 million is relatively small in the overall scope of things. The key aspect here is this is the first arms package approved under the Trump administration. So we have seen some legacy ones continue to be shipped that were approved under Biden, under the last presidency, and most of those continue to move forward. This is the first one that we've seen where the Trump administration says, good, sign off, new weapons, get them over there. On top of that, we got news just yesterday that the State Department approved a $310 million sale of F-16 training and support package for Ukraine. So by and large, we've not really participated in the F-16 program. Reminder, those are American aircraft that we sell to our allies, and our allies then send them to Ukraine. I think we played a little bit of a role in the training, but $310 million dedicated to that project, again, shows long-term U.S. support to the defense of Ukraine. Now, what this all came on the heels of was a mineral deal that was signed on Wednesday, and this has been back and forth and a lot of arguments over this. If you remember, the blow up in the Oval Office between Zelensky, Vice President Vance, and President Trump was kind of around this. The whole idea was he was going to be signing this later in the day. It's signed now with some modifications. Now, according to some reporting by the Associated Press, they say the deal covers minerals, including rare earth elements, but also other valuable resources like oil and natural gas. It does not include resources that are already a source of revenue for the Ukrainian state, as in existing areas. It's not tapping into their existing deposits that they're currently mining. In other words, any profits under the deal are dependent on the success of new investments. Ukrainian officials have also noted that it does not refer to any debt obligations for Kyiv, meaning profits from the fund will likely not go towards paying the United States back for its previous support. That's a sticking point, because that was something that was brought up early on in these negotiations, was President Trump laid this out as a way for Ukraine to pay us back for...
There are tons of rare earth minerals in Ukraine or in Afghanistan.
The aid that has been provided, you go back as far as you want, pre-2014 even, and that's tough, right? You're negotiating a deal after the deal has already been made. That put Ukraine in a really tough spot, and it's understandable why they didn't want to sign that. Seems like that's now off the table. They say officials have also emphasized that the agreement ensures full ownership of the resources remains with Ukraine, and the state will determine what can be extracted and where. It does not mention any explicit security guarantees to deter future Russian aggression that Ukraine has long insisted on. That should not be all that surprising. We have really tried to stay away from listing any formal security guarantees for Ukraine. That's not just under this administration, it's under the last as well. That's the argument as to why NATO could be beneficial to Ukraine. And but the security guarantee piece, Ukraine's top demand right now, top ask, I should say, is for some form of that. This doesn't do anything on that front. They say the agreement establishes a reconstruction investment fund in both the United States and Ukraine will have an equal say in its management. Ukraine is expected to contribute 50% of all future profits from government-owned natural resources into the fund. The United States will also contribute in the form of direct funds and equipment, including badly needed air defense systems and other military aid. So my understanding of this is our investment into this is not just going to be some equipment to help the mining down the road. This is not a short-term project. This is long-term for sure. But also any future military aid that we donate. So the projects I talked about earlier were sales, military sales, $50 million that we are selling to Ukraine. That wouldn't go into this because that is a direct transfer. Like, they are giving us money in exchange for that equipment. In this case, anything that we donate going forward, it sounds like that would go into this, and that would be our contribution towards this fund. Now, looking at some reactions, I want to start here with one from the New York.
So anything we donate going forward would be our contribution towards this fund. Sorry.
Top demand right now. That should not be all that surprising. We have really tried. It's tough, right? You're negotiating a deal after the deal has already been made. That put Ukraine in a really tough spot, and it's understandable why they didn't want to sign that. Seems like that's now off the table. They say officials have also emphasized that the agreement ensures full ownership of the resources remains with Ukraine, and the state will determine what can be extracted and where. It does not mention any explicit security guarantees.
So it's not like we're just going to go gut them open, right? And we decide where, when, how to mine. They decide what to open, when to mine, how to mine it.
To deter future Russian aggression that Ukraine has long insisted on. That should not be all that surprising. We have really tried to stay away from listing any formal security guarantees for Ukraine. That's not just under this administration, it's under the last as well. That's the argument as to why NATO could be beneficial to Ukraine. And but the security guarantee piece, Ukraine's top demand right now, top ask, I should say, is for some form of that. This doesn't do anything on that front. They say the agreement establishes a reconstruction investment fund in both the United States and Ukraine will have an equal say in its management. Ukraine is expected to contribute 50% of all future profits from government-owned natural resources into the fund. The United States will also contribute in the form of direct funds and equipment, including badly needed air defense systems and other military aid.
So they're putting 50% of everything they earn from this in it, and we're putting air defense systems and shit like that.
So my understanding of this is our investment into this is not just going to be some equipment to help the mining down the road. This is not a short-term project. This is long-term for sure. But also any future military aid that we donate. So the projects I talked about earlier were sales, military sales, $50 million.
Wait till you see
Ukraine. That wouldn't go into this because that is a direct transfer.
Wait till you fucking see what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say about this deal.
Like they are giving us money in exchange for that equipment. In this case, anything that we donate going forward, it sounds like that would go into this, and that would be our contribution towards this fund. Now, looking at some reactions, I want to start here with one from the New York Post, which tends to be a right-leaning outlet here in the United States. And we've talked before, when you look at the American voter base, the American population, you tend to see more support for Ukraine on the left and less on the right. So when you have a right-leaning article coming out, a right-leaning publication, it's always notable to see how they're presenting something like this that I think has to be viewed as pro-Ukraine. And the way they put it is, this is how Trump spared U.S. taxpayers from paying for Ukraine military aid with the long-awaited minerals deal. So again, saying that this is a joint partnership, and it is. Presenting that as this is a win, this is a big victory, and we can continue to provide military aid to Ukraine, just albeit on different terms. President Zelensky says it is truly an equal partnership, one that creates opportunities for substantial investment in Ukraine, as well as significant modernization of Ukraine's industries, and equally important, its legal practices. This means joint work with America based on fair terms, allowing both Ukraine and the United States, which supports us in our defense, to make money in partnership. This is kind of Trump 101, right? If Trump can find a way to further enrich the United States, it seems like he's going to take that. So it seemed like this is, for a long time, it seemed like this is something that's probably going to come to fruition, assuming that the right terms were met. And according to everything I'm seeing from Ukrainian sources, they're happy with this across the board. It could have been better, of course, right? We're talking about the security guarantee, but by and large, they're very happy with where this landed, and so is the United States, or at least a lot of people in the United States. Senator Lindsey Graham said, quote, "The signing of this agreement creates a new chapter in the U.S.-Ukraine relationship, allowing for deep economic ties vital to resources for the 21st century. To President Trump and his team, well done." But it's not all positive. You look to some voices here that I think I would not normally quote in videos. Marjorie Taylor.
All right, here we go. Listen to her spin on this. Again, we got away without giving them security guarantees, which is what they ultimately hope for, right? Saying like Russia's going to stop, and if they don't, we'll come help you stop them.
Representative from Georgia, I believe, tends to lead a rather outspoken group inside the United States that is very anti-Ukraine, so I think it's worth mentioning her take on this. She says, "Now that we are told that we have signed a deal for mineral rights in Ukraine in order to pay us back for the hundreds of billions of dollars that we gave Ukraine, and they used for money laundering, sold the weapons we gave them to our enemies, and their leader is a dictator who canceled elections, was involved in..."
So, like, Trump says shit just to get a rise out of people, just to piss people off, and just to make himself look better. Marjorie Taylor Greene takes that as the word of God. Like, clearly Trump said Zelensky was a dictator, right? And then he tries walking that back almost immediately. He says, oh, he won't have elections. He tries walking that back almost immediately. He says that the money's all missing. He tries walking that. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, once it's said, she's just running with that. All this billions of dollars we sent them, they fucking laundered it, and then they sold the weapons we sent them to our enemies. And that he's a dictator and won't have an election.
In the first impeachment of Trump and campaigned for Biden. Why on earth would we go over and occupy Ukraine and spend an untold amount of future American taxpayer dollars defending and mining their minerals, as well as potentially putting American lives at risk and future war? When you're losing MTG, you're losing the base. I got to start referring to myself in the third person like that more often, for sure. Of course, you hear some of the nonsense in there about the money laundering, hundreds of billions of dollars that we've given them. I guess Ukraine is selling our weapons to our enemies. I think all of that nonsense has been debunked. But nonetheless, you can see that's the take inside the United States that is very much against any support for Ukraine. They are not happy with this deal. Neither is Russia. Two majors, Russian mill blogger said Ukraine has been sold. The subsoil of the former Ukrainian state has...
The deal also counts any future U.S. military assistance to Ukraine in the form of ammunition, weapon systems, or training as capital contribution to this fund. Additionally, Ukraine will not reimburse Washington for past military aid that was provided, as they should have, right? We gave that to them in good faith, and now Trump's trying to fucking claw back some money.
Has been given away to Washington for free by Zelensky, and an investment fund for the restoration of Ukraine, quote, a money laundering scheme, will be created. The deal gives the U.S. priority rights to Kyiv's resources, and Kyiv is obligated not to sell them anywhere else for a year. Complete colonial independence, complete colonial dependence, no security guarantees or military aid. Now, in the agreement, it does say that there's no obligation for military aid to continue. It's not binding in a lot of ways. Essentially, it sounds like an agreement where if both parties come together to agree to continue this partnership, it will be prosperous for both parties. Now, it's not just the mineral deal that, again, Russia's not happy with, MTG not happy with, but there was also a new layer of sanctions being layered on right now, or possibly will be layered on by the United States. And this is an interesting one because we've seen that the Russian economy has done a very good job of kind of sanctioning proof everything over the course of this war. They're not in good shape, to say the least, but they have survived a lot better than I think most expected. And you go back to the early years of the war, the first year of the war, I think a lot of people thought just the threat of some of these sanctions could get Russia to back off and maybe leave Ukraine entirely. Clearly that wasn't the case. That said, there are still more levers we can pull, and it sounds like Senator Graham has proposed a new package that's going to do that, just try to take these sanctions to the max. According to Bloomberg, they say Graham's proposed sanctions would impose a 500% tariff on imports from any country buying Russian energy resources. It will also ban U.S. citizens purchasing Russian government debt, aiming to punish and deter trade with Russia. Graham says 72 senators back a bill with tough new sanctions on Russia to push Putin towards ending the Ukraine war. He supports Trump as the best person to broker peace and sees the bill as a tool Trump could use in future negotiations. Quote, "Our goal is to help the president," said Graham on Wednesday, the same day the U.S. and Ukraine signed a mineral deal. Graham claims he has enough House support to bring the sanctions bill to a vote. He predicts Putin will have to choose between negotiating with Trump or seeing Russia's economy crushed. The White House did not provide a comment. You cannot separate out all of these different things. They're kind of different talk tracks being brought forward by different people. But in the span of 48 or 72 hours, we have the mineral deal signed. We have new sanctions layered on top of Russia and are proposed to be.
Initially, they tried demanding $500 billion repayment, basically.
Layered on top of Russia, and new arms deals that are all of a sudden cleared. So there's a shift there happening within the U.S. government, albeit a couple different sectors of the government that changed. 2-3 weeks ago, none of these things were, they were being discussed, but they weren't.
I think the biggest thing is now Ukraine has in writing that it was a full Russian invasion. They condemned the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine. They say that anybody that supported Russia's efforts cannot benefit from any of this agreement. They classify them as the aggressor, rightfully so. All the stuff that Trump likes to lie about is now in writing in this deal.
Happening. And instead, in these videos, we were saying, my God, we're coming down hard on Zelensky and kind of letting Putin skate free. Just like that, it seems to have flipped.
And one thing that helps Ukraine is I think 2 out of the 4 known lithium mine sites are in areas that are currently contested by Russia, right? Russia has troops there or in that area, maybe overrun that area. We're going to want that lithium. If we're coming with this deal, we're going to want that lithium too.
And in coordination, the U.S. appears right now to be much more interested in backing Ukraine. Maybe they're seeing that this is the way to bring Putin to the table. That, hey, we tried to treat both sides equally, and I think a lot of people would argue that we were maybe treating Russia better than we were treating Ukraine. It looks like that didn't really play out. To nobody's surprise, there's no indications that Putin actually wants peace on anyone's terms but his own, which is the complete capitulation of the Ukrainian state and, a lot more. Maybe this is the move that the United States is taking now. More pressure on Russia, more support for Ukraine. We'll have to see how it plays out. But that's all I've got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.
Russia's outright refusing the 30-day ceasefire they keep requesting. Basically, everybody behind the scenes is like, Russia says, they just want to keep talking about it, but they're not leading into the ceasefire at all. And then we had this video was sent to me. It's actually pretty good. We'll start it over. Chris Murphy on the Senate floor.
To me,
This is not the same one we watched before. He's done multiples of these.
There's a story of incompetence. Weird.
Oh my, can you just shut the fuck up for 10 goddamn minutes? No one's engaging with you. We've been over everything that happened in Ukraine. Every time you bring it up, me and you argue. I don't want you putting that shit in my chat again and again and again and again, pretending like you didn't fucking know my stance on it. Holy shit. The shit that you put in chat that people actually engage with are stuff they want to talk to you about. The shit you put in chat that people completely fucking ignore, everybody's tired of hearing it. Holy fuck. Go find a wall in your house and go yell at it. Leave the fucking chat alone.
My colleagues, you're going to hear a lot of stories about the first 100 days of Donald Trump's second presidency, and indeed there are a lot of stories. There's a story of incompetence. We are dealing with multiple measles outbreaks all across the country. There is a story of abdicating our responsibility to lead around the world. Vladimir Putin is laughing at us as Trump goes about.
Hey guys, you know the same thing I said 3 weeks ago, and Will told me I was wrong, and we talked about it, and everybody agreed with Will, and then I just quit talking about it? I'm going to bring it up again right now.
The business of handing Ukraine to a brutal Kremlin dictator. There is a story of transferring wealth from the poor and the middle class through massive cuts to Medicaid to the very, very wealthy who are asking for another massive tax cut. But I would argue, Mr. President, that the most important story to tell is a story of corruption, a story of mind-blowing, massive, scalable corruption. That story is...
I think there was a story that came out today. There's a story that came out today that there's like actually, I've got it here. I think, before we get into this video. Company boasts about spending up to $20 million on the Trump crypto coin to buy influence. Now, listen how corrupt this sounds, but Trump is trying to normalize this shit. Trump is trying to normalize this shit. An international trucking logistics firm is buying as much as $20 million worth of President Donald Trump's crypto coins to influence the administration's trade policy. The precise sort of corruption that experts warned Trump was encouraging when he unveiled this venture. Freight Technologies Incorporated CEO Javier Selgas said in a Wednesday news release that buying Trump coin would be an effective way to advocate for fair, balanced, and free trade between Mexico and the U.S. The release was attached to a filing that same day with the SEC explaining why Freight Technologies was issuing bonds. So they're issuing bonds to have investors send them money so they can buy $20 million worth of Trump's meme coin. And they literally filed it with the SEC to tell them, like, we're going to use this to negotiate with Trump. They're filing with government agencies to say, hey, we're bribing the president. Here's our official paperwork. The company will use the net proceeds from the offering to purchase Trump coins. It's just another day for Donald Trump that an international freight company is paying up to $20 million tribute towards the Trump family fortune after openly wishing it will lead to an administration tariff relief, said Tony Clark. The watchdog group discovered Freight Technologies' plan through a social media post bragging about it by GetTrumpMemes.com, the company that sells the Trump coins. Neither Freight Technologies, which is incorporated in the British Virgin Islands but has its U.S. headquarters in Houston, nor Selgas responded to HuffPost queries. The Trump White House officials also did not respond to HuffPost for this story, nor did GetTrumpMemes.com. On April 23rd, GetTrumpMemes.com announced that it was holding a contest to reward the top 220 holders of Trump coins with a dinner with the president at his golf course in Sterling, Virginia on May 22nd. The top 25 coin holders would get an exclusive reception with him as well. Any company can seek to curry favor with Trump and favor that curry with cash, said Norm Eisen, the top ethics lawyer in the Obama White House. He's opened up an additional channel of illicit influence by hosting this dinner. Going back to his first term, Trump used his office to enrich himself, a textbook definition of corruption, more than any previous president going back at least a century. He operated a hotel blocks from the White House where both domestic and foreign lobbyists met with administration officials while spending at the bar and restaurant. Foreign delegations frequently took rooms there, sometimes blocks of rooms, for days and weeks at a time. Republican Party groups and candidates held events at his properties, particularly the Washington, D.C. hotel in Mar-a-Lago, Trump's private club in Palm Beach, Florida. Trump even tried to host a G7 summit of the world's largest democratic economies at his cash-strapped golf course in Doral, Florida, until critical press coverage made him back down. All of these efforts, though, pale in comparison to Trump's eager promotion of his crypto schemes in his second term. 3 days before his inauguration, he announced that his Trump coin, which was immediately soared to $75 per coin before crashing back down, it had fallen to as low as $7.57 last month before GetTrumpMemes.com announced the dinner and reception contest. The price Friday stood at $12.97. Crypto coins have zero intrinsic value, meme coins, and do not physically exist anywhere. Even the GetTrumpMemes.com site states Trump memes are intended to function as an expression of support for and engagement with the ideals and beliefs embodied by the symbol $Trump. And they are not intended to be or to be the subject of an investment opportunity, investment contract, or security of any type. Ethics experts warned that Trump's coins would enable foreign and domestic interests seeking the president's favor to funnel him cash without leaving a public trace. Indeed, thus far, Freight Technologies appears to be the only company or individual making a large dollar purchase of Trump coins to announce it publicly. Crypto transactions are difficult to trace, which has made them a favorite for money launderers and other criminals since their invention. GetTrumpMemes.com posted a leaderboard of the top Trump coin owners, but only provides their usernames and crypto wallets. If Freight Technologies goes through with its plan to buy $20 million of Trump coins on Friday's $12.97 price, it would have 1,542,020 Trump coins, putting the company in the top spot of the rankings and likely giving its representative FaceTime with Trump at the VIP reception prior to the May 22nd dinner. Freight Technologies facilities movements of goods back and forth across the U.S.-Mexico border by long-haul trucking, a business facing considerable financial threat from Trump's trade war. At the heart of Freight Tech's mission is the promotion of productive and active commerce between the United States and Mexico. Mexico is the United States' top goods trading partner, with Mexico being the leading destination for U.S. exports and the top source for U.S. imports, he wrote in an April 30th release, the owner. There's little doubt the company is expecting some administration policy relief in return for their generous investment in the growing Trump crypto empire, Kark said. It's an indictment in and of itself that the president has paved the way for so much potential corruption for his own personal gain and at the public expense that few can keep up. Ty Cobb, the former federal prosecutor who served in Trump's first-term White House, said that the federal law makes either offering or accepting a bribe a crime. Trump has made it plain that won't be enforced so long as he's in the White House. They made it clear that there's no ethics and they're not beholden to any standards. And it doesn't matter if it's legal or not because they're not going to prosecute Republicans. So get over it, Cobb said. What passes for your routine at this White House is purely corrupt. So again, this is not just some random person or blah, blah, blah did this or whatever, right? That's not what happened, okay? It was, they literally filed with the government and said, hey, we're issuing bonds. We're going to sell those bonds. We're going to take the cash from that bonds. We're going to put them in Trump's meme coin to try to get favorable outcomes from Trump, the president of the United States. And what do you think is going to happen? Nothing. His SEC is not even pursuing all the other crypto cases. They said it's out of their realm, right? It's not them. They're not the people in charge of it. It must be somebody else. We don't know.
It's important because we are watching the theft of taxpayer money by the decision of the Republican Party to look the other way as Donald Trump essentially monetizes at scale the White House and the powers given to him by the Constitution of the American people in order to enrich himself and his friends. And if we don't tell this story, and if we don't mount a national, bipartisan, apolitical resistance to this thievery, to this corruption, and it becomes normalized as just a part of doing business in America,
it's not that we can't have a conversation about Ukraine. We absolutely can have a conversation about Ukraine. It's the fact that I've had this same conversation with him 4 times now. Obviously, we don't see eye to eye. I don't know why he puts in the chat. We've just had that exact same conversation over and over again.
Normal facet.
He believes something I don't. I've sent him links to the stuff that I believe. He just believes something different. I'm not going to have the same conversation every goddamn time I want to talk about Ukraine.
Of residents in the White House.
With the same person.
Shame on us, because our democracy will not survive this level of corruption, grift, and graft. So I'm going to try to tell the story really quickly. I've got 2 charts, and it's hard to read. These words are really small because,
Well, Trump's... Biden kind of set the precedent. Trump's going to protect himself on the way out, right? He's going to, if he's smart, he's going to pardon himself for everything on the way out, and all of his friends and family and anybody who hasn't pissed him off before that point. If you are with Trump doing these crazy, scandalous, fucking horrible things right now, and you piss him off before he leaves office, you're probably fucked. If you're doing the dirty deeds with him now, you got to stay friends with him until he's getting ready to leave. Get that pardon worked in.
Over the course of 100 days, there are 40, 50, 60 different individual acts of precedent.
I say Biden said the president. I don't blame Biden. I think it's a bad look, but look at who Trump's going after right now. The writing was on the wall when they're talking about they're going to line up their enemies, they're going to weaponize the justice system, blah, blah, blah. It's a bad look. It sucks for the Democratic Party as a whole, but I would do the same exact thing for my kids. Right? If I was leaving somewhere and the guy that was coming in was like, I'm going to use the full authority to go after you and your kids and your family and anybody you've ever talked to, we're going to bring you to justice, we're going to do that. Absolutely, I would do it.
Making corruption. And that's intentional because what President Trump is trying to do is engage in so much public corruption that you just become normalized to it, that you stop paying attention to the corruption because can it be corruption if it's just playing out in public? He's trying to make you think that this stuff happens all the time behind the scenes and now all that is different is that you are seeing it publicly. But that's not true. This is not actually how government works.
I don't care if people disagree with me. This is the last time I want to fucking address it. I'm not having the same retarded ass fucking conversation that you're fucking wrong about for the 5th time. It's not happening. You can start a show and you can talk about everything you fucking believe.
And I refuse to accept that just because the corruption is happening in public, in front of the cameras for everybody to see, that we should accept it. Okay, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. I'm just going to highlight for you maybe the 40 most egregious examples of corruption in the first 100 days, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. So on January 6th, this is before Trump is even sworn in, Amazon, which has a ton of business before the incoming Trump White House, pays $40 million to the Trump family to license a documentary and a series about Melania Trump. Just a cash payment from a company that has huge interest before the incoming White House to the Trump family. On January 17th, a few days before Trump is sworn in, maybe the...
Also, today is Star Wars Day. I forgot about that. And the Trump White House forgot that the guys with the red lightsabers are the bad ones. They completely forgot. They completely forgot. They're like, fuck it. Look at it. In all its glory.
Most corrupt act in the history of the White House. This is the creation of the Trump meme coin. This is just a backdoor way for anybody with business before the Trump administration to send him millions of dollars in total secret. Trump doesn't disclose who buys the coin. He launders his income from the coin through an unregulated Chinese exchange. He promotes the coin on his social media feeds. In the first minute of trading, one buyer. And what we know is that this was likely a Chinese...
I don't think we'll actually see the big investors in Trump's meme coin actually show up. That'd be stupid. Right now, they have a ton of money invested, and they're kind of anonymous. All we know is their fucking wallet, basically. It would be stupid for some of them to show up.
This individual purchases 6 million coins, sending the price through the roof, and immediately making a ton of money for Trump, who makes money off of every transaction. Trump knows who this person is, no doubt, but American citizens do not. All right, January 20th, he's now sworn in, and he fulfills a campaign promise to the oil and gas industry. There's a report from the campaign that says they came down to Mar-a-Lago, I think, and said, we'll give you $1 billion in campaign contributions. This is not me alleging this. This is an open report. Oil and gas industry say we'll give you $1 billion in campaign contributions if you do what we want when you are sworn in. And the day he's sworn in, Trump issues an executive order gutting environmental rules so
Arkansas
industry can start making bigger amounts of money. On January 25th, Trump eliminates the inspectors general, the ethics officials in government, and whistleblower offices. It's a late night purge, so you know it's fishy. On January 25th, 17 inspector generals get fired, clearing the way for the president to engage in even more corruption, because that's what the inspectors general do. They sit in these agencies and they look for corruption. Now the inspectors general are gone. They're just gone. But that's not good enough, because on that same day, Trump fires the head of the Office of Special Counsel. Why would you do that? Well, that office is an investigative and prosecutorial office that works to end government and political corruption and protects government employees who become whistleblowers. That office is gone now, along with all of the whistleblowers. 2 days later, Trump illegally fires NLRB member Quinn Wilcox. This effectively shuts down illegally the NLRB for a period of time. Why is that important? Because the guys who are standing behind Donald Trump on Inauguration Day, people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, they are being investigated at the moment by the NLRB for massive workplace violations. And now the NLRB is shut down. A big gift to the people who financed Donald Trump's inauguration and stood behind him to give him political endorsement and cover on his inauguration day. On January 31st, a trend begins. enforcement actions are paused against Trump loyalists. This is Representative Andy Ogles from Tennessee. He was being investigated for loans made to illegal or potentially illegal loans made to his 2022 campaign. But right after Rep. Ogles introduces a bill to amend the Constitution to allow Trump to serve for a third term, what happens? Trump makes the investigation go away. Because as you will see, Trump's justice system will often look the other way if you cheat or steal, but you are a friend of Donald Trump's. At the same time, another of Trump's friends, his IRS nominee, Billy Long.
He's setting the precedent that if you work with him, you're friends with him, you support him, you won't be prosecuted ever.
Gets his donors. Almost all of them have direct interest before the IRS to pay off his six-figure campaign debt. It's a fabulously corrupt thing to do, but it's just all normal now. So when Trump is showing you the way, then the folks who work for him follow suit. All right, we'll jump to February now. February 4th, we're into what, week 2 of the Trump White House. Trump hauls the PGA and the Saudi government into the White House to broker an agreement between the two rival golf leagues so that Trump can make more money hosting golf tournaments. He's in business with one of these entities, the Saudi-owned LIV League. In a normal world, the President of the United States wouldn't be in business with any foreign government, but the President is, and not only is that okay, but it is also apparently okay for him to bring the golf league that he's...
And it's so much of it, it's almost like he's trying to normalize it.
...in business with into the White House and pressure the other golf league, the rival golf league, to cut a deal. And guess what happens? The PGA, which had long said they were not going to host events at Trump's courses after being hauled into the White House...
Suddenly they decide we're going to have events at Trump courses now.
Looking the President of the United States in the eye, somebody they clearly have to do business with, they announced that they're going to start allowing their tournaments to be held at Trump courses. Big benefit to Donald Trump.
Dude, the best thing he could have done and shut everybody up was just come in and have a goddamn normal presidency. Like, you want to fucking own the libs? Come in and have this transparent presidency where all this corruption isn't leaking out, where friends of yours are getting fucking investigations dropped and you're weaponizing everything against everybody and you're violating the Constitution on a daily basis. Like, just don't do that. And we'd all just been fucking mad and nothing to say.
Trump's personal bottom line. February 6th, 2 days later, Trump ends the criminal enforcement of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Do you know what this is? You should. It requires people who are being paid by foreign governments to register. It's no longer going to be enforced. So now members of the Trump administration can get backdoor payments from foreign governments, and nobody is going to enforce the law. This isn't theoretical. There were people who got arrested for doing this exact same thing, getting paid by foreign governments while working for the Trump administration in term 1. He wants to make sure it's not a problem in term 2, so he pauses enforcement of the actual act. 4 days later, Trump eliminates the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This is just a magnificent present to all of his billionaire enablers, because this is the agency that stops big businesses, banks, other financial firms from ripping off consumers, and now it's just shut down.
And makes a shit ton of money, right? We didn't fund this. We didn't lose money on this. They returned money back to taxpayers.
The same day, DOJ drops charges against Eric Adams in a mind-blowingly public and brazen quid pro quo. Adams says he will pledge loyalty to Trump, that he's going to support Trump's political priorities in New York City. Trump drops the corruption charges against Adams. Just like the Ogles case, the door is now wide open to engage in corruption or criminality as long as you support Donald Trump. The thing that makes this one so egregious is that Adams and the White House go on TV to announce the corrupt deal, and they don't hide it. They just say that Adams is now supporting Donald Trump, and we're now going to drop the charges against him, and everybody gets the message. There's a lot of stuff I can get away with as a corrupt official as long as I am in bed politically with Donald Trump. Same day, February 10th, DOJ pauses enforcement of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. This is the law that stops American companies from bribing foreign governments in order to get business. On February 10th,
Trump says, like, we gotta let them start bribing other countries. That's how business is done.
Suspends enforcement of an anti-bribery statute, paving the way for his friends in corporate America to start bribing foreign governments. Again, 2 days later, the State Department forecasts that they are going to dramatically upscale the amount of money that they're going to send to Tesla. This is the first time that Elon Musk shows up in this story, because by February 12th, Elon Musk is pretty well embedded in the White House, and guess what? The State Department is now going to spend $400 million for armored Teslas, its largest expected contract in the upcoming year. February 12th, same day, Musk infiltrates the Department of Labor and OSHA, giving him exclusive secret access to labor law violation data against him and his competitors.
Elon Musk is leaving, but he's probably already got all the information he wanted anyways.
Unethical, corrupt, but this stuff is just happening every single day. A few days later, on February 15th and 16th, Musk now starts really testing the limits of what his boss will let him get away with.
It's sad that we had somebody come in and so brazenly test the limits of our democracy, right? And then walk away unscathed. Like, it's just wild that the fucking nutless Republicans couldn't fathom standing up to Trump and saying, you know what? This waste, fraud, and abuse thing sounds good, but how about we just get a little clarification on what is actually happening? Like, what is this stuff really? I know you're saying transgender mice and these dances in Pakistan and Sesame Street in Iraq, but let's get down to the bottom of what it actually is. Can we have somebody come in and just tell us? Nope, you couldn't do that.
He fires a specific set of regulators at the FDA that are reviewing one of his medical products, Neuralink. The message is clear. You got to do right by my applications or you risk getting the axe too. 3 days later, on February 19th, Trump's new U.S. attorney for Washington, D.C., Ed Martin, starts to use his government power to harass Trump critics. He launches something called Operation Whirlwind, and he's pretty unapologetic about the fact that this is going to be an enforcement operation against anybody who just seeks to get in the way of Doge. He doesn't say it's going after people who are acting illegally. He says anybody who tries to stop or protest or harass Doge's work is now going to be the subject of Operation Whirlwind. And he starts trolling critics of Doge online. The U.S. attorney for D.C. is now just trolling Doge critics online, obviously threatening criminal enforcement. You see what's happening here? We're 30 days into the administration, and everybody in Trump's world, including these supposedly independent U.S. attorneys, are getting the message that it is now part of your job, if you work for Trump, to use your government powers to either enrich yourself or Trump or to help Trump politically. February 21st, 2 days later, the SEC drops a major investigation into a company called Robinhood. Why does this matter? You guessed it. This firm donated $2 million to Trump's inauguration fund. 30 days later, the
Robinhood, if I'm not mistaken, I had an investigation of fucking manipulating the markets, basically. Well, like when GameStop was going on and hedge funds were losing their ass by small-time investors that were like teaming up on Reddit to buy GameStop and shit like that. When the market started shifting, they were locking people out of their accounts and not letting them trade. While the hedge funds and whatever, they got plenty of time to trade.
The SEC drops an investigation into that firm. Put a pin in that because you're going to hear stories like it over and over again. Throughout February, we watched the rich guys that are surrounding Trump come up with new ways to monetize their positions. Kash Patel is a perfect example. He's the nominee to head the FBI, and maybe the most important independent bureau in the federal government. And while he's going through that process, he is selling merchandise online, ranging from T-shirts to playing cards, with the proceeds supposedly going to whistleblowers, education, and defamation cases. February 26th. News breaks that the FAA is considering giving a $2.4 billion contract to Elon Musk's Starlink. But it's not like a regular contract that's up for bid. It's a contract that was already awarded to one of Musk's competitors, Verizon. And word leaks that the White House is thinking of just ripping the contract away from Verizon because Verizon is not a political supporter of Donald Trump in the way that Elon Musk is, and just giving it to Elon Musk. Now, that doesn't happen as reported. The contract has not been canceled yet, but there are regular reports of the administration still relentlessly attacking Verizon.
They even said something weird about this Verizon contract the other day when they were talking about airplanes and saying, we're going to copper lines. We're not doing any of this crazy fiber optic stuff. Well, Verizon's whole contract was about a fiber optic line system that they were putting in. So there still might be some shady shit trying to get them off the contract still.
In a clear attempt to try to undermine their contract. February 27th, the next day, Trump drops a lawsuit against Capital One. Why does this matter? Capital One donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration fund. It's now just kind of automatic. You donate a big amount of money to Trump's inauguration, and you can ask him for something. We're not done. That same day, the SEC drops a lawsuit against Coinbase. You got the story now. Coinbase donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration fund. They are now told that it's okay to keep cheating consumers. We're not done. On February 28th, a day later, the DOJ announces that it would drop a complaint against SpaceX, Elon Musk's SpaceX, for labor discrimination. Elon's like, wait a second, all these other big donors to your inauguration are getting out of jail free. I want my get out of jail free card as well. He gets it from DOJ. We're now into March 1st. A report breaks. This is maybe second to Coinbase, the most stunning act of corruption. On March 1st, word breaks that Trump is selling meetings at Mar-a-Lago. On at least one occasion, Trump has charged guests $1 million to dine with him at Mar-a-Lago. According to the same report, business leaders can secure a one-on-one meeting with the President of the United States for a $5 million payment to Donald Trump. If you were mayor of a medium-sized town and it was reported that you were selling meetings for like $200, you would be arrested. You would be run out of town. But not Donald Trump. He's selling meetings for $5 million, according to this report. And because
that's like rumors and hearsay coming out of the FBI. It's hard to prove, but so it's homes in Vegas, and obviously he's supposed to be at the J. Edgar Hoover building. The 7th floor is where his office would be. But they said they stopped his daily briefings and backed him all the way down to once or twice weekly, just because he's not there most of the time.
Because of the corruption in this White House is daily and normal, he gets away with it. March 2nd, Trump launches the Crypto Reserve Fund. This is going to involve government taxpayer dollars purchasing and holding a variety of digital assets in a strategic reserve fund, a move that definitely inflates and protects Trump's investment portfolio by now, you understand, very heavily dependent on crypto assets. This normally wouldn't be a problem because normally when somebody takes a high position like president or governor or mayor, they divest from their own personal assets or they put it all in a blind fund. Trump does none of that. He's controlling his own assets. His family is controlling their own assets while he makes policy that benefits himself and his family financially. On March 3rd, a really curious thing, DOJ intervenes in an obscure but open and shut 2020 Colorado elections case. This is the case of Tina Peters, who tampered with voting machines on Trump's behalf in Mesa County, Colorado. She was convicted by a jury of her peers. Open and shut. But because Peters is a MAGA loyalist, now DOJ on March 3rd says it's going to step in and review the case because there are concerns about how it was prosecuted. This is just President Trump, again, clearly shielding those that violated the law to help him from consequences. Same thing, different day. No, not even a different day. This is actually still March 3rd. Yuga Labs, a blockchain company, donated $100,000 to Trump inauguration fund. They now get in line. They get what everybody else is getting. The SEC closes an ongoing investigation into the company. On March 4th, Doge lays off thousands of IRS employees. This is bad for a lot of reasons, but it certainly helps Trump's Mar-a-Lago.
The IRS just brings money out. The most complicated cases the IRS covers are obviously cases against the wealthy, right? They have all these exemptions and all this different income, and that takes most of their manpower. So when they're short on manpower, they investigate less of the wealthy and more of the middle class and lower class because they're easier cases to get through, especially with limited manpower. This is just going to cost us tax dollars. That's all it's going to do. I think it was like, depends on where you look, but basically for every dollar we put into the IRS, we get somewhere between like $3 and $12 back. A lot of places say like 4 to 7, somewhere around there, but there's different estimates. But every dollar we put in to IRS agents, we get money back. They go out, they investigate, they find people cheating their taxes, and we get that money paid to us.
Friends, because the IRS now cannot enforce the law against the big giant tax cheats in the way that it could have when it had those personnel on the books. Mar-a-Lago is celebrating. March 4th, same day, word breaks that the Commerce Department is considering changes to this very specific rural broadband program and who's eligible. Why? Because Elon Musk wants to dominate that program. Under the program's original rules, Starlink was kind of capped at $4.1 billion.
The movie about the trading, the GameStop movie about trading GameStop.
Curious change now will allow Elon Musk's company Starlink to receive between $10 billion and $20 billion from the rural broadband program. This is like a broken record, but
was it Dumb Money? Was that the name of it?
Days later, the CFPB, which is basically shut down but exists in name only, it drops a lawsuit against the Bank of America and JP Morgan. Bank of America donated $500,000 to the inauguration. JP Morgan.
So the Consumer Protection Bureau, which doesn't really exist anymore, it's only Marco Rubio, and it's his third or fourth job that he has, drops 2 more investigations, of course.
Morgan donated $1 million to the inauguration. On March 11th, a day later, Trump and Musk hold this now very well-known advertisement for Tesla on the White House lawn. This is just taxpayer dollars used to support the personnel at the White House and the White House being used to sell cars for Elon Musk. And the message, again, is pretty simple here. If you are loyal to me and you pay any kind of price for your loyalty to me, I will use government resources to help you, to get you out of trouble, even including free advertising. On March 19th, we're 8 days later, the GEO Group donated $500,000 to Trump's inauguration fund. This is a private prison company.
It seems like the best investment you possibly could have made, if you had it, was $1 million to Trump's inauguration fund. That's the best investment anybody could have possibly made this year.
And the NLRB drops its investigation into this company. I mean, it's really getting disgusting at this point. I mean, I don't know that there's anybody left that made a major donation to the inauguration fund that has not gotten their favor from Donald Trump. On March 24th, the Treasury Department guts something called the Corporate Transparency Act. This is the regulation that requires businesses to reveal their true owners to the government. These new rules now make it easier for billionaires to hide money, to avoid taxes, to engage in corruption. Less accountability for corporations. March 25th, a day later, the SEC reduces from $125 million to $50 million an existing fine. So this has already been litigated. This company, Ripple, it's a blockchain-based digital payment.
They already had an existing fine. It's already been adjudicated, right? You have to pay X amount. Trump comes in and just reduces their fine. There's no new evidence. There's no new hearing. There's no new documentation. He just comes in and reduces their fine.
Payment company. It's been fined.
And that money that they've been fined is your money. It's the federal government's money. It's your money. Trump comes in and says, don't worry.
And Trump comes in and reduces the fine from $125 million to $50 million. You know the story by now. These guys made a big investment in the inauguration. Most of these companies that got to get out of jail free or have their investigations terminated were giving $500,000, $1 million. Ripple wanted to make sure they got it right. They made a $5 million donation to Trump's inaugural fund, and they got their fine reduced by $75 million. March 28th, Trump pardoned.
And to be fair, I own XRP, okay? I own XRP. And this is still fucking corruption.
The founder of Nikola Autos, one of his campaign mega donors. Again, this is a pardon for one of his major campaign contributors. When asked about the pardon, Trump said, they say the thing they did was wrong, but he was one of the first people who supported me for president.
No, he said, they say the only thing he did wrong was supporting a man named Trump. They say the only thing he did wrong was supporting a man named Trump.
When asked about the pardon, Trump said, they say the thing they did was wrong, but he was one of the first people who supported me for president. Like, he just tells you what he did. He said, yeah, they said what he did was wrong. I mean, he did something that was probably pretty wrong, but he supported me for president, so I'm giving him a pardon. I'm not saying that there hasn't been a lot of really bad stuff that's happened in the pardon program under Democratic and Republican presidents, but let's just name it when Donald Trump names it. April 8th, we're into April. Trump issues an executive order to expand coal mining. This is part of his down payment on the promise he made to those oil executives. The shares of the company owned by by Joseph Kraft, the billionaire coal magnate who helped lead those Trump fundraising efforts during the presidential campaign, immediately shoots up. On April 9th, this really curious timeline of events plays out in which Trump posts on his social media, this is a great time to buy. A lot of his followers comply. They make investments in the market.
You want to hear something? You guys might keep me out of your cool club. I don't like avocados at all. I don't even like guacamole.
There's reports and speculation that many of his inner circle might have done the same thing. And then a couple hours later, he announces that he's pausing most of his tariffs. And the market shoots up. People who followed his directions online make a lot of money. And potentially other people who had access to that insider information might have made a lot of money as well. On April 17th, Musk steers billions of taxpayer dollars to something called the Golden Dome. Reuters on April 17th reports that Elon Musk's rocket and satellite company, SpaceX, has emerged as the front runner to develop Trump's proposed Golden Dome. This is a really ill-defined, technologically unproven defense system. It supposedly has a price tag of hundreds of billions of dollars, money that now looks as if it will be funneled directly to Elon Musk. At this point, it is just head shaking. On April 23rd, I mean, now it's like he can do anything he wants. Like, he has just blown the lid off of any expectations about what a president can and cannot do to enrich himself. On April 23rd, a message appears on the homepage of the website for Trump's meme coin declaring that the top 220 meme coin holders would be invited for an exclusive.
There's the dinner.
Top 25 coin holders. These are private investors in Donald Trump's financial empire would get a special VIP tour of the White House. After the message went up, the price of Trump's coin jumped by more than 50%. In the 2 days following the announcement of the special VIP tour in the People's House, the White House, Trump and his allies made nearly $1 million in trading fees alone. They're just selling access to the White House.
$1 million in fees. And we still don't know how much of the coin they fucking own. Because like 80% of the fucking coin is held by locked accounts that we have no idea who they are. Somebody that's close to Trump and this meme coin. The best thing they can do is drive the price up when their account's unlocked so they can sell them.
Out in the open, April 26th, Trump's family, this is just last weekend, announces the launch of a private club called the Executive Branch, a new private club in Washington. The initiation fee is around $500,000. It is advertised as a place where you can hold secret audiences with the Trump administration as long as you pay Donald Trump's family and their financial backers over $500,000 in membership.
And they're literally calling it the Executive Branch. They're opening a club that is a back door to the ear of the president for favors. And they're calling it the Executive Branch Club. Imagine if I opened up a doctor's office and I called it Suck My Dick for Pain Pills. You think everybody would just look the other way? Holy fuck.
Fees, it is apparently already sold out. This is not normal. None of this is normal. This is outlandish. This is illegal. This is unconstitutional, brazen corruption. And this is only the first 100 days. I just detailed 40 instances of mind-blowing corruption in
a mouthful a day. Keeps the doctor away.
Off by an attempt to just sell access to the White House to people who put money in the pocket of Donald Trump's personal businesses. Donald Trump wants to numb this country into believing that this is just how government works, that he's owed this, that every president is owed this, that government has always been corrupt and he's just doing it out in the open. But this is not how government works. This has been the story of his first 100 days, but it's our choice as a nation to allow it to be the story of the rest of his term. We need to expose what he is doing. We need to rally everybody from the left to the right. Nobody in this country, whether you're a hardened conservative or a hardened progressive, should root for the President of the United States to be enriching himself off of this position. We need to rally this nation against this corruption and bring it to an end, because if Donald Trump gets what he wants and we just start allowing our government's leaders to openly steal from us during the first 100 days or for the rest of his term.
He's trying to normalize it, right? We've seen him do so much crazy stuff that when he does shit half this crazy, we'll be like, well, it's not as bad as when he was like doing that meme coin thing.
I am telling you, American democracy is not going to survive. I yield the floor.
Shit's getting wild. U.S. inches closer to war with... Oh, and then on top of that, check this out. Trump's latest executive orders. If you thought you were mad before, check these out.
All right, sir. This order would reduce the number of interracial couples in TV commercials.
It's just too many, right? You see them in the kitchen together making meal from HelloFresh. He's wearing loafers. She's got tight braids. You're like, where'd they meet, you know? What do they even talk about? It's insane.
Well done, sir. Sir, this order will make it socially acceptable for a man in his 70s to date a 24-year-old.
That's right. We're calling it the Belichick Law. We're going to make girlfriends young again, okay?
Have you guys seen how awkward the Bill Belichick interview is? In this new interview, Bill Belichick is like, they're interviewing Bill Belichick, the coach, right? And his girlfriend's like sitting off to the side of this like interview. There's 50-year age gap between them. He just got divorced like a couple years ago, and they've been dating for a few years, whatever. Anyways, the interviewer says, well, how'd you guys meet? And the girlfriend from the couch off screen says, we're not talking about that. No, we're not talking about that. So awkward. So awkward.
Okay? Old men can now date far younger women. We like that. It's hot. But in reverse, it's quite disgusting, right? Very Dateline, you know? Did you see Belichick's girlfriend? She's pretty hot, right?
Yes, she is a beautiful creature.
God, you're creepy. This is why we don't hang out outside of work.
Understood, sir. Next is a pardon for author J.K. Rowling.
Jackie Rowling. We love Jackie. You know, she created a whole wizarding world, a wonderful place for overweight millennials to stake their entire identity, well past the point of it being cute. I'm a Hufflepuff. No, bitch, you work at Staples. I'm rolling. Let's keep it moving. Let's go.
Sir, you asked Marco Rubio to join you for this next one?
Yeah, where's Marco? Get him out here. Come on in, little Marco. You're going to love this. Oh, wow. Yes, this order, I believe, forbids all Hispanic babies from getting their ears pierced. I believe this was Marco's idea.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Sorry, little Maricela. Sorry, Valentina. It's clip-ons for you from now on, all right? I mean, we got grown white American tweens trying to get into Claire's, and they got to wait behind 1,000 tiny Latina babies to get their ears pierced. It's no bueno, right, Marco?
See, sir.
We'll see him later. Moving on.
Sir, this order will make the New York Times Connections game easier.
And it's about time. Every time it's like, how the hell was I going to get that fourth one? You know the purple one? Oh, it's always like units of measurement plus the letter Q, or types of beans minus the concept of love. What the hell does any of that mean?
All right, here's the super awkward Bill Belichick interview. Watch this.
How did you guys meet?
Flag on the play.
I'm not talking about this.
No?
No.
Bill Belichick.
So I want to go back to this. They're doing the interview here. See these two guys? They're talking face to face. Some guy sitting here, she's sitting at a desk at a monitor. He asks him, how did you guys meet? And she says off screen, we're not talking about this.
How did you guys meet?
Flag on the play.
I'm not talking about this.
No?
No.
Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, shutting it down a question from CBS Sunday Morning when the notoriously stoic coach was asked about his relationship with the former cheerleader, 48 years his junior.
Stupid thing.
The six-time Super Bowl winning coach, who is never one that enjoys talking to the media,
Tom's age of the draft. I'm going to Cincinnati. What do you think I'm a 37-year-old to Cincinnati?
has seemed to take it all in stride.
He's at He's at UNC Chapel Hill now, right?
Lately from getting roasted for his relationship by his former players.
You used to talk about Foxborough High School when we sucked, but now I know why you were so obsessed with Foxborough High School. You were scouting your new girlfriend.
To joining Instagram and showing off life with his girlfriend of 2 years.
Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that? I've never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
There's something weird going on. Yeah, he's like a very, very famous coach. He spent like 25 years at the New England Patriots when Tom Brady was there. He does that weird shit where he fucking makes his son kiss him on the lips while he's getting his titties massaged. You know, they're a bunch of fucking weirdos. There was cheating scandals and everything. I don't know. There's something going on. He's been a coach in the NFL since like the 70s. Like not a head coach, but still, like he started in the NFL in like the 70s. Very weird thing. I don't know about him. That's insane, right? That's crazy. Just me, you think? I mean, like, okay. Like the day she was born, he was ready for retirement at a normal age. He was 50 the day she was born. He's 73, she's 24. I think's what they said. That is rough, dude. That is rough. And he was married to his wife till not so long ago, right? He got a divorce. Debbie Clark, right, was his wife's name. She's 48 years his junior. But he's got 3 kids, too. How old are they? $38 and 41. His oldest kid is 41. Well, it's only showing me 2 of their ages. I guess the third one isn't listed, but unless maybe they're twins. I didn't think about that, but insane, dude. I guess that's what you get. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'm out of here for the night. Consider supporting the show while we're offline. Coldbeer.fund. Coldbeer.fund. That's how we pay for the show around here. I'm considering tomorrow just firing up the show and talking to a brick wall. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. It's been a good time, I guess. I don't know. We'll see everybody in the next one. Maybe not. Shut it down. Have a good night.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet by name.
Oh, I forgot the White House. Here, let's end this music.
You don't have the fork and balls
the White House launched a MAGA lo-fi music video channel. And it's live 24 hours a day. Here it is. Might as well use that as our outro music. This is the official White House account, by the way. This is kind of a trend. Like, there's all these different, like, lo-fi, hi-fi, different, like, you just put them on the background, like, while you're doing homework. And some of them have become famous because the little story that's going on in the background about, like, this girl that's, like, sits at her window or whatever, and then she meets a guy. It's stupid internet stuff, but it has nothing to do with the president or the White House. This is silly. I did hear a little ting tang walla walla bing bang, but I thought that would come from Scott Rogers. Low fidelity. Low fidelity means usually there's like imperfections in like the recording or whatever, but no one really cares, I guess. There's crackles and static and distortion, but no one cares. They enjoy it, maybe. I don't know. Hear the static in it? It's just supposed to be something you put in the background and like do your homework or write an essay or masturbate to midgets, whatever you got going on.
It was like a ninja.
You didn't hear the ninja. That didn't happen. Yeah, go home and play chicken with a 12 gauge. See who blinks first. Good night.